What is up, Rotogrinders? Dean here, Dean78904. That is my daily fantasy handle around the industry. Hopefully we see that name atop one of the DK contests, one of the Fanduel contests going down tonight. This is the start of 2+ hours of MLB DFS content. Joined today by Stevie TPFL. You know him from such things as disc golf and NASCAR and having a very masculine beard. What's up, Stevie? How are things in your world? How was your weekend?
Fantastic, man. It was Father's Day weekend, so shout out to all the fathers out there. And I mean, it was a chill weekend. It was nice. NASCAR only ran the trucks, and it was Saturday night race, so it was kind of a relaxing weekend. Which at this time of the year, like we're almost halfway to the season. It's kind of nice to have like one of those weekends where you just kind of chill, because I get exhausted by this time of the year.
Do you get pampered Father's Day? You know, you got the wife, you got a couple kids. Do you get the big piece of chicken? Well, what's the big bonus of having Father's Day? In Stevie's household.
Oh no, we went over to my family's house and made some steak. And it was fantastic.
How do you take your steak?
I'm medium. Little under medium's fine, a little over medium's fine, but like right around medium. Whatever happens. If it's a little bloody, it's fine. If it's a little done, it's fine. I'm not picky. As long as it's close to medium, I'm happy.
Bringing in Andre as well. How was your weekend, Andre? The people want to know in chat. Everyone wants to know, how do you like your steak? Is medium? Is that the good call? You can only get it so wrong if you're medium.
Yeah, I'm gotten more into the medium side, but there's places that do make it a little bit like too chewy for me. So I like a medium well, but medium is typically my cup of tea. I can't wait to have some steak next week. Actually, looking forward to it.
What do we got going on? You have a birthday or it's a special occasion or
my birthday. So I treat myself because I don't eat red. I eat red meat obviously when it comes to burgers, but not often anymore. But trying to be like more healthy. But steak I try to eat like at least once every every 3 to 4 months. So it's that time.
Is it a hot take to say, like, I like steak? Steak's just fine, but like dollar for dollar? I don't know if it's like, if it's the steak's like $50 and the chicken's like 15.
I don't know.
I
mean, steak is really good. It depends who makes the steak, honestly, I feel.
Yeah, I haven't been to like the top of the line, $150 steak. I've never done that. And I imagine, in New York, obviously, a lot of restaurants there as well. You got to spend up for the, but of course,
you have
what you get.
Ruth Chris is a good one. STK, I love STK. That's what I'm going for my birthday. It's a great one. I had it when I was in Colorado. For the first time at the live final, and it was just amazing. And so I was like, I got to go back to that place.
What is it called in Colorado? I'm going to be out there in a couple of weeks.
STK.
I'm not aware. I've heard of Ruth Chris. That's kind of a, I think they're all over the country. I might, but. All right, now we got some steak takes there in the chat. Esteban says for his birthday, can Dean shave the mustache? It's funny because Andre did he was very nice about it, but he's like, this has got it. What are you doing here? This has got to go pre-show. And I kind of sort of told Grant I would give it to him for his birthday, metaphorically, not I don't like you give somebody a mustache, but you know what I mean. And I'm gonna be not his birthday, his wedding, which only happens theoretically one time in your life. So I'm kind of committed to the bit at this point. I know it's bad, but you're probably looking at other pages as you're listening to us, I suppose. So theoretically, you're not looking at us. Who knows? But yeah, just look at Stevie's beer. Look at Andre. Don't look at me. How about that? I don't know. But all right. The chat's talking about now we're gonna get some takes as far as steak and chicken and all that good stuff. And if I eat some steak, maybe it'll turn the stash brown. I don't know. Maybe. Probably if it's really bad steak, that would be some tainted meat. I think if it's changing my whatever this is going on in my face. Hey, Andre, we have a long time to talk about this slate. Get comfortable, an hour and 20 minutes or so until the crunch time crew comes in. I believe you got Dave Potts. No Roth. You got Grant subbing in for Roth today. Weather is precipitation, not an issue. Last we saw, I'm sure Roth will update it. But just a couple of games where it's expected to be hot. But precipitation as of right now, as of earlier today, not in the forecast. It's also SquirrelPatrol too. So, we're rolling out all the millionaires today. Is that today? Is that correct? Let me double check now. Is it Squirrel that's on later? I should know this.
Squirrel pretty much might as well have been a Millie Maker winner with him taking down pretty much almost $1 million and almost $1 million, not over $1 million in one night. So
has he never won $1 million like in one actual contest? I thought he did.
I'm not to my knowledge. I don't think so. But it doesn't matter for him. He's enough 100K, 500K wins. Who needs $1 million wins?
Yeah. I know he's won. I feel like he's won at least one Fanduel Live final. Maybe it was for $500,000. I don't know. What he's done really well, obviously, in tournaments. Yourself, you've won $1 million. Dave Potts has won $1 million times 2. And then there's me and Stevie. Stevie, we haven't won $1 million yet. What's up with us?
Yeah, I like I'll leave it for everybody else.
You're just kind.
I don't chase that no more, honestly. Like that was like I have like a goal of everything I want to achieve of like DFS. $1 million was like one of the number one goals, and I was glad I got it pretty early. So now I'm just trying to get a live final win. That's the next one, and to cross off, and then I could fade off into the sunset and just focus more on this on the sports betting stuff.
You're trying to win $1 million in a single game parlay. Are you still we're still chasing that?
Yeah, that's chased every single day. Like I'm about to post another actually lotto in a minute. So while we're on the show.
All right, Stevie, the slate today, not a lot of great hitting. Only a couple teams have totals over 5. Not a full slate, obviously. We got 8 games. Big boy arms at the top: Garrett Cole, Shane McClanahan, Corbin Burns. We probably can cut it off there, but like Fried's really good too. Some like good real life pitchers that aren't the best from DFS perspective. What is the screenshot here, Stevie? We have a couple of prospects getting called up as well. We know that O'Neal Cruz is 2K on DK, is 2K on FanDuel, 6'7", big boy shortstop for Pittsburgh, ton of power. With Machado getting hurt, it looks like the Padres are going to call up Abrams as well. Another uber prospect, big time prospect in baseball. I thought Jeter Downs was getting called up for Boston, and maybe he was.
He did not get called up.
Okay. I know he's not in the lineup, but I thought maybe right. Wasn't there a report that he was going to come up? That's what I saw earlier today.
Yeah, he got called up. He's just not in the lineup today.
Okay, so he's on the team. He's just not starting. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. It's kind of wild. Of course, a guy named Jeter is playing for Boston, right? I imagine he was probably named. Like, he's got to be, 23, 22? Jeter was doing his thing. And
he was part of the Mookie Betts trade from the Dodgers. He's very, very talented. Ever since he's come to the Boston organization, he has struggled. His strikeout rate is through the roof right now. So hoping they get him some at-bats. Top 5 prospect for the Red Sox. And like I said, he was part of that Mookie Betts deal. So, I mean, very talented. He's just, like I said, struggled. And he's super fast, too. So, I mean, he is a jack-in-the-bag type of guy.
11 homers and 11 stolen bases, I believe, in AAA this year. I was looking at him as a potential cheapie, and just kind of the way that the slate was shaping up for me is like, Cruz I love as a cheapie. We're not sure if Abrams is going to start for San Diego. I think he will. I presume, Machado got hurt yesterday. He's probably going to be out for a while. I think the X-rays were negative, but he's still going to be on the IL for a bit with his ankle. And they did call Abrams up, and Abrams is like a top 10 prospect in all baseball as well. And he's 2-3 on FanDuel and 2K on DK. We might get that one later. 9:40 game on the East Coast as far as lineups, but yeah, it's not. I like some of the cheap big time prospects and some big arms, and then just hopefully you get lucky as far as homer hunting. But your thoughts, Stevie, as far as the slate? Cole versus McClanahan, 6.5 total. We know what we're getting there. 2 big power arms. Not a lot of great hitting spots, if we're being honest. It's like there's some good hitters, sure, but nothing spectacular, and the pitching matchups aren't great either. So it's a bunch of meh for me. Is there anything you love in this slate?
Pitching. I mean, there's a ton of great pitchers today. I mentioned this in an expert survey today as well. I feel like today is one of those days where I'm going to build my lineups and do the pitchers last, because there's 3 guys that are cheap that you can play. There's 4 or 5 guys expensive that you can play. So, I mean, I'm doing a 20 entry max, Dean. Like, what?
That's not your wheelhouse.
I know. First one all year. First one probably in like 3 years. But it's just one of those slates where I'm just going to try to take advantage of some of these bats and just kind of let the pitching be what it is. And I mean, I love the Brewers today. We're going to talk about it when we get to that game. I'm very high on the Brewers today. If the Brewers are crushing, I'm hopefully taking down the tournament today, because looking at like my stack percentage on them, I expect to be way over the field on the Brewers today.
Interesting. As far as team total, as I was saying, it's only a couple teams are over 5. Angels at 5.3 facing Chris Bubich. Lefty reverts Splitsy. Definitely one of the worst pitchers on the slate. Sierra above 5 this season. And the other team is your Boston Red Sox as well versus Alex Faedo, who's not looking particularly good, probably overwhelmed to be in the majors at this point, and it's a tough ballpark to pitch in. Why the Brewers? Since you mentioned them against Mikolas. Mikolas is one of those guys I was kind of referring to. Like, I don't necessarily love pitching him because he's not this great K guy, but he also can go 7 or 8 innings, and he subdues homers, and he's not someone I like attacking. So, the Brewers are going to be mostly neglected. I assume that's part of the reason why you like him?
No, it's more of the dude threw 129 pitches last time out. He tried to throw the no-hitter against Pittsburgh, 8 2/3, got yanked after, I think it was a single or a double. He's just super, super stretched last time out. So I love attacking these spots. It doesn't always work, but this is one of those spots where I'm definitely going to be stacking Milwaukee. Mlb Dfs is a great pitcher. He's a great ground ball pitcher, but if he is anything like struggling at all today because of throwing so far last game, it was 15 pitches more than he's thrown all season in any start. He's only thrown over 100 pitches, I think, 3 or 4 times. So I think this is just one of those spots where I'm just going to play the stack and hope Mikolas isn't pitching well.
Yeah, what is his fly balls on the season? 35%, not a huge number.
Not typically a guy would stack against, Dean.
Yeah. And like if you look at pitches thrown for every pitcher lined up, he's 3rd in all of baseball per start. So he is a guy that will go deep. Obviously, he's not going to throw 125 on the regular. But Burns, by the way, on this slate is number 2 in all of baseball. Number 1 is Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins is over. Like he's like 2 pitches more than everybody else. Burns number 2, Mikolas number 3. There's a couple other guys in the slate that are kind of near the top. Darvish is 11, Fried is 15, Webb is 17. Maybe I missed one. I'm not quite sure. Surprisingly, Cole not in that. Well, he's also had a couple games where he just got beat up and they chased him out pretty quickly. McClanahan just don't push him that hard for Tampa. Andre, what your thoughts as far as picking on Mikolas, Milwaukee? And since we're just on that, I know we're going to talk about pitchers first, but or just whatever your thought is as far as this slate. What's jumping out to you? What is your edge?
Well, I do like because me and Stevie did the morning grind. So like we spoke about this, and I'm definitely not surprised, and I love it. I love the spot. The team I thought obviously my favorite team is probably going to be the Angels. I just love the matchup today for them, but I love going to the spot that what he mentioned going against with Milwaukee today. I don't know how much ownership I'm going to have on them today personally, but I probably will be at the field, maybe a little bit above. But they're not coming also that much popular on FanDuel, which is what I'm going to be playing on today mainly. Other teams that I do kind of like a little bit would be like trying to attack more Lance Lynn with Toronto after looking into it a little bit. And I don't even mind the opposite side of that game with Chicago as well. And taking some shots on some players there a little bit. So, and Boston as well. So one of my favorite teams to target as well.
Yeah, the Lynn one, he looked bad, obviously, in his first start back. He got beat up in the minor leagues, too. His velocity was down a tick as well. The one thing I don't like about – I like Toronto, too. Like, if I'm picking my favorite teams, Toronto is on the podium. They're top 3. But it's a bunch of righties against Lynn, who historically, like, when he's been good, he's good against righties. Like, the only lefty power on this team, I mean, it's really non-existent. They can use Rowdy Talese. They probably shouldn't let him go. But they got Tapia and Biggio, the only 2 lefties starting, and not a ton of power in those bats. Just that's like the one negative, I suppose, from the Toronto side. I believe this is one of the hot games. Let me go ahead and double check on the weather edge.
Great weather in the White Sox game.
Say it again.
There's great weather in the White Sox game.
Yeah. So weather edge tool. We only have a 3-game sample as far as Atlanta, but 91 degrees, the wind's blowing out, and it's got the Roth approved fire emoji. And Chicago's got the fire emoji as well. 89 degrees, 12 mile per hour. It's a crosswind, but in a 53 games, bigger sample, 24% bump in homers, 12% bump in runs. I like the Toronto side. It's like, no team is amazing to me, but Toronto is my top 3 teams. The Angels will talk about and I guess Boston too. And I'm sure we'll talk about Boston plenty as well when we get to the hitting section. But Steve, you have a thought as far as picking on Lynn? Because I'm good with that.
It's one of those spots where I could see us being like, yeah, we should have played more Toronto. And then the flip side of it is bottom half of that order is trash today. And Lance Lynn is really good against righties. So worries me a little bit. I like the top half of that lineup for sure. I think it might end up being like a team I secondary stack more than full stack today. And just play the studs, and hopefully it kind of works out. But yeah, he's really struggled in his 3 rehab starts. He struggled in his first start, but even in that first start, he still dominated the right-handed hitters that he faced. So, I mean, it's somewhat concerning seeing 7 right-handed hitters in this lineup. But I mean, the weather's great. There's not a ton of great hitters on this slate. So, I mean, yeah, I think Toronto is definitely in play.
You can poke holes in everything. You're not going to find a perfect spot anywhere in this slate.
Boston's the perfect spot. I mean, we're gonna sugarcoat everything today, and I mean it's Boston. Like, it's a fly ball pitcher that gives up a ton of hard contact versus the Red Sox. Like, there's a reason they're the most popular team on the slate today.
Yeah, I mean their back half kind of stinks too. Obviously, like it's hard to get 9 good hitters, but 1 through 6 looks really good, if nothing else. I agree with you. I like Boston also, but so does everybody else, right? And then it just comes up. Well, how do you get different? Are you willing to play the bottom half? Like, I mean, sure, if you're playing on DK, you'll punt with Vasquez because you're forced to roster a catcher, and there's not a huge opportunity cost today. Catching pretty bad. JBJ, man, good fielder, but I mean, I don't like rostering that stick at all. And then Cordero, you know, I don't know. I guess that's one way to be different, but it doesn't excite me, obviously.
I'm not going to take Dre's spotlight here because I know he likes Jackie Bradley Jr. from when we did the podcast this morning, but it's a fly ball pitcher. Jackie Bradley Jr. is a massive ground ball hitter. It's a spot that I think you could wrap around that stack and make your stack different with Boston with Jackie Bradley Jr. And yeah, I mean, this is a spot that I definitely like JBJ.
Chat saying multiple people like JBJ. Okay, all right. So, I mean, a number 9 hitter at home who's like not very good. All right, sell me on him, Andre.
I mean, the stats don't support it, in my opinion. But like you said, it's a fly ball pitcher that's going against pretty much going against a fly ball pitcher. Sorry, and Jackie Bradley Jr. I mean, like, to me, it's the way to get different. No one likes to play these guys, and I know he has a 27% strikeout rate on the season and 4% walk rate, but and the contact rate is not even appealing. But I don't know. Just when I was looking at the stats here and comparing it to more so what the pitchers like today for Detroit, like to lefties, like I said, 13% K rate, 27% ground ball rate, 52% fly ball rate, and a 45% hard contact rate. And Jackie Bradley Jr. has a hard contact rate of 40% on the season. Elevated average is 89 too. So I just like those stats, and like if that's going to be one of the lower guys that no one's going to go, that he's going to go under own, I'll gladly take him in my lineup. I also do like Verdugo too as well. Like, I like him more so to hit a home run today too. So like all these lefties, the lefties that they have in this lineup are, to me, look great, and they're going to go well overlooked, especially on a side like FanDuel. So I'm just excited to get them in there, and he's plus 750 odds right now. If you want to take a shot on him to put a couple dollars on him on the sportsbook on FanDuel, and I just love him today to hit a home run, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jackie Bradley Jr. does it too as well. Yeah,
I mean, Devers is going to be the most popular one, obviously. He's also pricey, but yeah, I mean, you're talking about the power lefty. Like, he looks like an awesome play. Possibly, if you want to make the argument, best play in the slate, I'm okay with that. Let's jump to the pitchers, Andre, because, you're playing mostly on FanDuel. Sounds like Stevie's playing. Well, you're probably playing both, but you talk about you're playing 20 lineups in the. I assume
playing DK tonight.
There you go. I'm playing both, so we can have the conversation all around. Got it all covered. But let's knock out FanDuel first, Andre. As far as pitching, the tricky thing here is that Cole is the cheapest amongst McClanahan and Burns. His K rate is below McClanahan. It's below Burns, but the matchup, I think you can argue, is the best amongst those three. Really hard to justify Darvish at 10-2. I have a hard time getting there. On DK, I think he's much better priced. Fried, maybe he can go 7 or 8 innings, but obviously not this incredible K guy. He's fine, but not at the same level of the other guys. But ownership is showing. Let's give it a refresh because I want to have the most accurate update information. It's constantly being changed and tinkered with as we work our way up the lock. Still 2 hours till then. But Andre, pitching wise, the number one pitcher, and this is no surprise, is Cole because, again, he's the cheapest amongst the three big boys, and Burns and McClanahan, 28%, 16% for Burns against a pile of righties on that Milwaukee side. And then McClanahan just short of 15. That's going to be the majority of ownership. Then Fried at like 12. Brewbreaker at 8. Ugh, I mean, come on. Is he the best cheap guy on FanDuel? And it's not hard to get basically whatever you want on FanDuel, even when you're spending up. Yeah. Do you have a favorite amongst Cole, Burns, McClanahan? Because for me, they're all kind of the same. Kind of. If you force me to choose, I guess it's Cole. But if you factor in ownership, maybe it's not.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I've been trying to split hairs at this like all day. Like, who do I like more? But it's gonna have to be Garrett Cole just because of the matchup. Tampa Bay still missing a couple of their better hitters on the team, so it's more of a favorable matchup, and it's also in a better park. I think for a better park for pitching too, if I'm correct, in Tampa Bay. So to me, it's just a better spot to me, and I'd rather take that side of the plate. Because honestly, anything could also happen. Granted, anything can happen with Cole. We know he sometimes just has these games where he just doesn't pitch really well, but I think he had that already so far this season. So I look forward to just rostering a lot of him, especially when he's got a like 38% K rate to lefties and righties, striking people out at 29% on the season. So to me, this is a phenomenal spot. Just got to watch out for the hard contact a little bit, and limit the fly balls if he can. And I think he'll be fine, which he should be able to get through like this lineup simply and easy. The only person I really would be worried about is honestly a Rosarina, but his strikeout rate is 28%, so that's pretty high. Other than that, I'm not really worried about anybody. Whereas going with McClanahan, if you go with him against the Yankees, you got to worry about everybody because this team's just been hitting so well lately. So
you're not worried about the G-Man Choi BVP against Garrett Cole?
No.
Do you know what it is by chance? I guess you don't care about BVP. I sent out a tweet making fun of. Chop's a big fan of his batter versus pitcher data.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 11 hits in 28 at bats versus Cole, 3 doubles and 4 homers.
I mean, he can have that, but to me, thinking about Garrett Cole getting out clean without getting up a home run or a hit, that's unrealistic. And let's be serious now. So I think in today's at least baseball, so I think he'll give him maybe 1 hit or 2, like 5, maybe 5 the most hits, but I don't think anything crazy. G-Man Choi, he can have that if he wants to, but we'll see.
I love this lineup too for strikeouts. He drew a good strikeout lineup. If you do like the active roster, you kick off Wander Franco, obviously the best hitter for Tampa. Second best hitter probably is Lau. He's not playing there either. Their active roster right now versus righties, they strike out the 5th most, 23rd least as far as walks, 22nd in ISO, 26th in WOBA, 21st in WRC plus. And this lineup today with Pinto cracking it and Lowe or Lau, the Lau that's not as good, not Brandon, but is it Josh? He made the lineup. Like it's back-ended by a lot of Ks here, more Ks than I expected this morning. I feel better about this lineup that he's facing than I did, according to the projected lineup. 26% as far as facing righties. This lineup has been the last 2 years. Stevie, that's like kind of a separator for me. Everything was sort of close, and this Tampa lineup looks really, really attackable for Cole tonight.
Yeah, I mean, when you take out their 2 best hitters, no Franco, no Brandon Lau. I mean, it just is it's a watered down lineup without their 2 best hitters, and Diaz, Rosarina, Kiermaier, like these guys are just big time ground ball hitters. And I mean, they're facing a guy that can generate ground balls, can generate soft contact, and can generate a lot of strikeouts. So I have Cole as my number 1 pitcher today. As much as I like McClanahan in general, and I think that you're getting 2 of the best pitchers in baseball facing off against each other here, the Yankees lineup's better than the Rays lineup. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Even when you look at Corbin Burns today, because I like Corbin Burns a lot today as well,
Yeah.
The St. Louis lineup is better than the Tampa lineup. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to when you're looking at these three studs today going. I mean, even if you're looking at Darvish, the Arizona lineup is probably better than the Tampa lineup. Like, and so, I mean, on paper today, I mean, it's Cole by a large margin.
Yeah, lots of power on that Yankee side. Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Torres, Donaldson, all, with big boy numbers when it comes to ISO and WOBA. They're all hitting the green and the old plate IQ. No Gallo is a negative for McClanahan because I feel like a couple of Ks on layaway. If he would draw the start, he's not playing. But like Gallo was pinch hit yesterday for Trevino. I mean, I think it was a lefty. I'm pretty sure it was against a lefty, but still, like that's kind of a wild statement, I guess. How low Gallo's kind of dropped, I suppose. And Trevino's been competent. Sure, why not? Marvin Gonzalez not very good, but that's the 9-hitter Hicks, same sort of deal. But and the LeMahieu not a lot of power, but he's also probably not going to strike out either. And McClanahan's not a guy that's going to throw like 105 pitches, 110 pitches. Like they hold him back just a little bit. They baby him just a little bit, and that kind of stuff can matter. If you were ranking the three, Andre, talking Cole, McClanahan, and then Burns, we'll talk a little bit more in a second. Where would you put those rankings?
Cole, Burns, McClanahan.
Why do you have Burns 2?
I just like the matchup a little bit better.
Yeah.
I like the Yankees that's my favorite team, but they just they've just been playing so well this year. I'm not taking the chance of going ahead and hitting against being a good pitcher against them. I'd rather I know they do strike out a good amount. Yes, they do. And McClanahan's had good strikeouts against them too. But also his price is more expensive too on both sides compared to both of those pitchers. He's 11-2. I'd rather just go with – I can get people with the same upside if not get close to it with Burns or Cole or even Darvish if you really want to take a chance with Darvish.
Stevie, talk about Burns. Burns, again, as far as leash, nobody's got a longer leash in all of baseball than Burns with the exception of Sandy Alcantara. Averages 99.3 pitches thrown per start. Going to face no lineups out just yet. We basically know it's going to be mostly righties. Donovan probably sprinkled in. Gorman probably sprinkled in. The switch hitter Carlson probably sprinkled in as well. K-wise, Burns' Ks are basically the same, right? 35% versus righties, 34% versus lefties the last 2 years. ISO's good both sides. He's just a good pitcher against whoever, no matter what side of the plate you're standing on. I think Burns is going to be the guy that's going to get, I don't want to say neglected, but amongst those three, is he going to be third? What do we have here as far as ownership? Maybe it's changed. Yeah, okay, so on DK, it's Cole number 1, McClanahan and Burns split at 30 and 31. It's basically the same. So, Stevie, break that tie. You got McClanahan, you got Burns. Who's ahead of who?
I mean, I think I go Burns over McClanahan, but I also think that Burns has just a higher ceiling with his pitch, count. And I mean, Burns has one of the highest swinging strike rates in baseball this season. It's 16.8%. It's fantastic. The guy has the goods. So when I'm looking at just those two together, there's strikeouts in that Yankees lineup. Don't get me wrong. And there's more strikeouts in the Yankee lineup than there is in the St. Louis lineup. But man, you look at the ISO and power numbers for that Yankees lineup compared to that St. Louis lineup. And I think that's why I would go Burns over McClanahan. And honestly, I have them percentage-wise like 5% off of each other. I think they both have similar upside. And I think they're both fantastic players on this slate, pitchers on the slate. So, like I said, I prefer Burns over McClanahan, but, I mean, I have them really close as far as who I think is going to outscore who.
I feel like, and Andre's kind of talked about this, I feel like no matter – if you're making a certain number of lineups, and Stevie, you said you're making 20. If you're making 20 lineups, I think you're supposed to have a Yankee lineup, like a Yankee stack, like every day. If you're making 20 lineups. With that premise, you're making 20 lineups. Do you make, obviously, bad ballpark, who wants to pick on McClanahan? Do you make one what if, like Yankee stack today?
No.
Okay.
When I do 20 entry max, there's usually like one or two teams that I really like that I'm just going to stack a lot of and try to get different combinations of. So I don't feel like I'm not Dean. I don't do 10% of everybody. Dean needs 20 lineups so he can play 10% of everybody. But no, I like to. I mean, I do this with NASCAR too. When I'm building my like script for NASCAR or for baseball, like I try to narrow down my player pool as much as I possibly can, get the stacks that I want, and really kind of focus on those two teams. And today, those two teams for me is Boston and the Brewers. So the only reason I'm running 20 entry max out today is because I really like the Brewers, and it's just a gut feeling. So I'm attacking it with the Brewers today.
Do you see some questions getting loaded up in the chat? What's up, chat? We haven't asked just yet. Hit that like button kindly if you don't mind. We'd appreciate it. Hit the subscribe, turn on notifications so y'all know when we go live. There's a baseball slate. We're going to be around talking some baseball, taking y'all straight up to lock in about an hour or so. You got Grant, you got SquirrelPatrol, you got Dave Potts, Crunch Time, sponsored by Fanduel, taking you guys all the way up to lock. And they do their best to answer questions from YouTube, but if you guys aren't aware, sometimes you're on YouTube, like, why is my question being ignored? We have the Rotogrinders premium chat for premium members. That's where the host first goes to those questions. If you guys are premium members, just go to the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. The MLB Crunch Time chat is where you ask your questions if you're not aware. And then we'll do our best, and I'll do my best to answer some questions in the YouTube as well. We're here for the next 55 minutes or so plenty of time to knock those out. Yeah, I'm starting to swing now to Burns over McClanahan the more I sort of think about it. No St. Louis lineup out just yet, but I just feel like he's got a tick more upside, I suppose. Not as good a ballpark to pitch in, in Milwaukee against St. Louis. Obviously, a great ballpark environment in Tampa. 6.5 is a total. Well, part of that is because Cole is on the other side as well. Andre, pitchers. I should ask the same question to you, Andre. Actually, you're a Yankee fan. I don't know how many lineups you're making today, but do you make the what if? Because nobody's playing the Yankees today, and it's not a slate where there are offenses jumping off the board. There's no offenses screaming saying, play me, or man, you're going to really regret not stacking this team. So maybe just play the Yankees and hope for a couple homers, and that's good enough. I don't know. Yeah, you have any Yankee stacks today?
If I'm making 75 lineups, I will have a few. But like Stevie said, when the 20, like that's a good strategy too, honestly. Which I've been getting more and more into doing when I'm doing 20 maxes, the 20 max contest. You just have to play at that point. You just got to play like your one or two favorite teams and just stack them all kind of ways, because that's the only way you're going to really win and take down at least a lot of money and win a lot of money. Because the goal in there for me is to pretty much have all my lineups in there and win, as opposed to when you're playing with 150 lineups. Yeah, that's a team that can always go off the board and have a big night any given night. I don't think tonight's a night, but I'll have maybe like 5% of them if I'm running like 75 lineups to 100. That's about it.
There's been a couple times this year, several times this year, I'm just like, it's 9:00. The Yankees are up 10-0 in the fifth. I'm just like, well, why didn't I just stack the Yankees? Like I feel like they've had more double-digit like scores than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
When they get going, it just
it's hard to stop them. Yeah, it's hard to stop them, and that's just my biggest concern with them. But I still believe that they can that tonight. I don't really think you necessarily need the Odyssey to win tonight.
Do you want to mention? Oh, go ahead.
No, I won't say anything.
Oh, I was getting some weird feedback or something like that. Want to mention Scores and Odds, number one place for all things sports betting, daily expert picks, analysis tools. It's a premium product. If you guys aren't aware, you can go on the Rotogrinders banner, get yourself a 3-day free trial. But we do have some free articles there today. Shout out to Tim, Tasteful Tides. He's got some player props he happens to like. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the YouTube link for y'all people. Feel free to check it out. If you happen to be in the appropriate states, you can wager. Pick yourself some player props. Do you have any, Andre? I don't know if you wrote anything today for Scores and Odds or anything you like. You're still kind of working on it, still kind of figuring it out, and any sort of player props you're on?
Well, I did put out my 2 lotto plays for today. So I'm trying to put together a home run one right now. But since it's not on FanDuel, I don't know where this. You can probably find it on. I'm assuming Caesars. That's my next one. I'm gonna probably go to and check out and see. But I do like for Jared Walsh to hit a home run today if he's in the lineup. So I would take those. Jump on that if you can find it anywhere on any sports book that you can get on there. And I do like the under on the Yankees game today.
So if you are a Scores and Odds premium member, you can go and type in. You go to the filters and go like props, home runs. Type in Walsh. I typed in Walsh. and they give you like the best place where you can bet it at as far as the most favorable odds. Plus 420. How about that? 420, and I believe that's points bet. And it also gives like the projected, like the odds according to our odds. He's like plus 318. So you're getting, 102 points in your favor. And that's also an interesting, we'll talk about that more with Ohtani as well, because Bubic, left on left, people like to run away from that stuff many times, but Bubic has been a reverse splits pitcher. So he was actually, I think in the expert survey today, I want to say he was my random homer. I like that one as well. Kind of your off the board guy. You don't want to go too chalky, something a little bit different. I wanted to pick O'Neal Cruz, but I think people are going to play him a ton. We'll see. I thought that wasn't off the board enough. I don't know if the field is sharp enough to be on top of Cruz, but he's also not leading off, which he was kind of projected to be, or at least I thought he would be, and he's batting 6th, 2K for Pittsburgh today. Working our way down, and other pitchers, not elite pitchers today, Stevie. Or let me ask you this. How much do you plan on going double barrel as far as picking two amongst Cole, McClanahan, Burns? Fried is right there. Barrios has been good. He's had some easy matchups, but he's been really good his last 3 starts, I believe. Darvish seems a little bit underpriced. He's been better as well, too. Obviously, he's getting older. The K rate's not what it used to be, but I think he's fine at 8K. What is your mix looking like on DK, Stevie? Because I tend to, you talk about the 10% thing, and I get it. I tend to just have a very small player pool when it comes to pitchers, and it's probably going to be that once again tonight. And it's not hard for me to get 2 amongst Cole, McClanahan, Burns, Fried, I guess Barrios if you want to count in there, but I don't know how much beyond that I'm going to go. There are some cheapies that are playable that we'll get to. Starter for Boston should be fine in theory. But, how are your ownership delegation? How's that working on DK?
As of right now, I always tend to make a group where I don't get 2 cheap pitchers on a slate like this. So, the 3 cheap pitchers that I have in my pool right now are Syndergaard, Winchowski, and Kilian. So I put those 3 in a group, make sure I make that group 0 to 1 so I don't get more than one of those guys on the lineup. And then I've narrowed down the 4 stud pitchers to Cole, McClanahan, Burns, and Darvish. As much as I like Fried, and I think he's a fantastic real-life pitcher, it's going to be hot in Atlanta. The Giants went with a very right-handed heavy lineup. I think there's only 3 lefties in that lineup today. And I think Fried pitches well. I just don't think he has the ceiling as these guys today. So that's kind of why I'm off of him. And the lineup looks fantastic for Logan Webb. But instead of playing him in DFS, I just took some overs on his strikeout stuff over on PrizePicks, because I do think that Logan Webb's in a great spot to hit his over on his strikeout prop today. There's only 2 left-handed hitters in that lineup. So Logan Webb was really iffy for me. If I need to go back and add a pitcher into my player pool, it would probably be Logan Webb.
Is it 5? What's the number?
I had 7. I have 4 expensive guys and 3 cheap guys today.
I'm sorry, I should have specified the number on Webb's Ks.
I think it was 5 when I got it this morning. Hold on, I can pull it up really quick.
Yeah, I know I was looking at that pre-show because Atlanta pretty good offense, but they will strike out a good bit too. And I didn't take a stand on it, but I thought it was interesting. And Fried, I almost
to 6 now. I got it this morning at 5.
There you go. Yeah, you can get some good lines overnight. I saw Christian Javier was at 5 at 2 o'clock in the morning the other night, and it jumped up a point. Now he only got 5, and you would have pushed, but his projection was close to 7. So player props. The longer there you wait on them, the tighter the odds get. The sharper money comes in, and then the books will adjust. Try to be early on that. There you go. Little tip.
And for what it's worth, I like the over on PrizePicks right now. Winchowski has a 4 strikeout prop. I like that a lot today. I see a lot of people in chat talking about Detroit today and their bats, but Winchowski is a solid young pitcher. He's facing the worst offense in baseball. Steve, do me a favor. I know you have lineup HQ open. Pull up Plate IQ and just show the Detroit lineup. There's so much red that it might break the screen and match in with my red beard. So all these people talking about these Detroit lineup bats, this is the worst offense in baseball against right-handed pitching. They're the worst. There's no go look at all the statistics. They're the worst. They have a 66 WRC plus this season against righties, a 25% strikeout rate against righties. Dean, you want to guess how many home runs Detroit has against right-handed pitching this season? I'll tell you the at-bats, 1,570.
I know I saw a stat that, like, I think Aaron Judge and, like, Matt Carpenter has more home runs than the Tigers as a whole.
Yeah, they have 27 home runs against right-handed pitching this season, 1,570 at-bats. Like, yeah, Winchowski might not be fully ready to be up with the big league team, but this is just a matchup where, like, Detroit's worse than Oakland now, Dean. They're worse than Oakland. Like, that takes a lot to be worse than Oakland.
Well, they added Riley Green, and he's 2.1K on DK. He's one of the biggest prospects in all of baseball. And I'm going to play some Green today. He's another one.
I have him in my player pool today.
Okay, yeah. So, but like Torkelson has been a major disappointment so far. But like in theory, he's going to be good. Baez, we know what he is. Like, he's a guy that can hit 35 home runs, but also strike out a ton. And
but his power is so down this year. Like, Baez's ISO is under 90. Like, he's hitting everything on the ground. His hard hit rate is really low. His contact rate is super low right now. It's just, like Baez, we're used to, like, being a Baez guy, like, in him hitting home runs, but he's just, the numbers are just, they're awful. Like, Steve, scroll to 2022 numbers for Detroit, and just, we're looking at 2021 to 2022. If you look at just this season, it's been a rough year. It's in the right-hand corner.
By the way, St. Louis put Tyler O'Neill on the IL, and CJ Abrams was called up. No surprise there for San Diego, batting 8th, which is kind of a bummer. But like Green, Abrams, and Cruz let you do whatever you want on DK. Like, those guys unlock everything. They're all 2K. So I think, well, Green is 2-1 if you want to get all technical on me. But those are my 3 favorite cheapies on DK to make stuff work. But go ahead, Stevie, you were saying.
No, he has it pulled up, and everyone on YouTube and Discord can see it now. You just look at the numbers. On paper, this is just a spot where Winchowski is in a great spot. So the fact that he's 6,200 and he's projecting for less than 5%, it allows you to make your Boston stacks different. It allows you to make your Angel stacks different. It allows you to make your Toronto stacks different. Winchowski is a guy, him and Caleb Kilian are guys that, like, allow you to stack maybe Boston and the Angels together. This is just one of those slates where, there's a ton of value, but everybody sees that value. I mean, everyone knows who these talented prospects are. So people talking about Detroit hitters. There's a couple guys I think you could take shots on today, like Green, maybe Grossman, but it's really probably just going to be Green for me in my player pool for Detroit today. And I have 25% Winchowski.
So I went the other way on that, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but like, this is my shell lineup I made. It's double barrel, 2 of the 3 big boys we talked about, and I got Cruz, Green, and Abrams. They're all 2K, and then I have Devers and a couple Angels, and it's a lot of fun. I'm not sure. I don't know if people are going to be doing that, and then that's kind of like where my shell lineup is, and this stuff gets changed. I'll tinker, and make one lineup as well. But that's why I don't necessarily feel like I have to go with those cheapies, but I understand that route as well, and you can get all the big boys. Your favorite cheap pitcher today, Andre, who is it? Who's the guy that you're looking at? And, of course, it's a little bit different if you're playing on Fanduel as opposed to DK. I don't know if you need the Boston pitcher. Probably not, but you tell me.
No, if I'm playing on Fanduel, I'm going to just not play down. Like, Max Fried is the lowest pitcher I would go with, and I don't even know if I'm going to go with him today because I think I'm starting like you Darvish a little bit more. So I might just go that route, if anything. But if I'm playing on DraftKings today, the pitcher I would like, it's hard to not go with the Boston pitcher. I do like him. I'm intrigued that I would probably have to roster him. But I do like this Caleb. I like the price. I like the price for Caleb too. So it's tough. Like, it really is a toss-up. I probably would just play them both equally. Like, probably at least 5% of both of them, no more than 10. But other than that, I'm not going to get to no one else. I thought about JT Brewbreaker earlier, but I would just rather go with this. The Stevie convinced me last night when we were talking about it, about Josh and against that Detroit lineup, and it's like, yeah, I like it today, and I would definitely be higher on that versus anyone else as far as in the bottom half today.
Winkowski, by the way, according to MLB.com, the 13th biggest prospect in this Boston organization. Like not an uber prospect like Stevie said, but you're kind of Stevie. It's more a bet against Detroit.
Third pitcher though, I'm pretty sure he's a third pitcher.
Walter and Gonzalez and Murphy and Groom, and it depends on where you're looking, and
right.
These lists adjust, yeah.
So. And really quick, just as far as like what Andre was talking about with Caleb Kilian, like this guy's good. He's very good. This is a top prospect again. I think he's top 10 in Chicago, and I think he's the top overall pitcher in the Chicago organization. If you have that up, Deanie, I'm sure you can look at it. But I mean, this guy has struggled with walks massively in his first two starts here in the majors. But we look at his AAA numbers, man. He doesn't really walk people. He generates a ton of ground balls. He doesn't give up home runs. Like even in his first couple games here, he hasn't given up home runs. So, and he has good strikeout stuff. He has above average command, and it just really hasn't shown. And you look at this Pittsburgh lineup overall today, it's just, I mean, this might be the highest Pittsburgh strikeout lineup that they could have technically rolled out there today. So I think if you want to pay $5K and you're just saving some money, he's another guy that I have in my player pool. I think I am at like 15 to 20% on him. I'm about 50% with the cheap SP2, so I'm going to have 50% double barrel with like Yu Darvish being like a second potential double barrel today. And I like that balance, Dean. Getting like 10 lineups with double barrel and getting 10 lineups with cheaper pitchers, and hoping that those 10 cheaper pitcher lineups come through with some of these, like maybe a Trout Devers team and they combine for like 3 home runs type of stuff.
Yeah, I have both those guys in my lineup right now. No surprise. Like
you're just playing the cheapies. I get it.
Yeah. Having a good time. And I say this all the time, but I'm playing, the 121, the 88. I'm not playing. I mean, I will throw my lineup in the one of like 30,000 just because. Why not, for funsies? But I'm really my lineups. I'm shooting for to take down single entry stuff. Kilian, by the way, is the number 5 prospect according to MLB.com in the Chicago organization, and the number 1 pitcher. Just turned 25, so I guess a little bit old, be whatever, not.
And he's early. He wasn't supposed to be called up till later, and they're dealing with injuries. He's a little early, but I think this might be a great bounce back. And he pitched with extreme like winds blowing out last time out in Wrigley, so this is a good bounce back spot. He's another guy that I took his over prop over there on PrizePicks. He's at 4 strikeouts. I took the over on that.
Did you give a Darvish take, Stevie? He's 8-1 on DK, and I just think he's more playable there than he is on FanDuel's. Just, I know Andre threw him out. He's just like 10K over there. It's hard to see him. I guess he can certainly compete with the other 3 that are essentially the same price.
Yeah, I mean the Arizona lineup is out 24% Ks with this lineup against right-handed pitching this season. A couple, a few power bats there in the middle, but overall this is a lineup that's beatable. I could see it going either way for Darvish. So. He makes the cut today. Is
Marte in it? That's the question because he's been beat up. I've not seen him in the lineup. Did I miss it?
I'm saying Plate IQ is saying the Arizona lineup is confirmed. So I'm hoping
I just missed it. Varsho, Thomas, Rojas, Walker, who's got like 19 homers or something like that. And like nobody cares. I mean, he's been awesome this year. Peralta, Kennedy, Smith, Kelly, and Perdomo. The Royals lineup is out, and all these guys are going to steal bases on Noah Syndergaard. Whit Merrifield, Benintendi, Witt, Perez, Melendez, Dozier, Isabel, Taylor, Lopez. For real though, there was some interesting stolen base props there. If you're into such things, Syndergaard, Thor has given up so many so far this season. Whenever he's in the mound, most vulnerable guy to steal bases against. What else just came out? The most recent. So St. Louis
lineup just came out.
Yeah, Ward, Trout, Ohtani, Duffman, Walsh, Rengifo, Suzuki, Marsh, and Velasquez. It gets ugly pretty quick.
I think the only lineup that we're waiting on now is St. Louis.
Yeah, and they put O'Neill on the IL, so maybe they're making a move or something like that, and that's just kind of holding things up. But White Sox, I don't think we have either, unless I missed it.
Oh, I might have.
We didn't get the White Sox yet either. Wait on Tim. I guess they're trying to figure out what Tim Anderson. But you said he's going to play today, Stevie, right? You said he should.
Yeah, Tim Anderson's supposed to be activated off the IL today.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. We haven't seen him for probably like a month or so, it feels like. He's been out for a while.
Eloy is supposed to start his AAA rehab again after being shut down for a couple weeks today as well. So,
okay. Yeah, I did see he had a setback, right?
White Sox are getting close to being full power.
We didn't really talk about Barrios. You got a Barrios take, Stevie?
Hot weather in Chicago. Anderson, table setter back, assuming that he's in the lineup. I mean, as bad as the White Sox lineup has been this season, maybe Barrios is in play, but he's had some good starts here recently against bad teams. And I think this is a game that I just want to target bats from more than I want to target pitching. So good umpire. I mean, it's the best umpire on the slate as far as umpires are concerned, but I don't think that's enough for me not to have interest in the bats here.
I never like quoting umpires on Monday because without question, they always shuffle them up. Like Monday, you know what I mean? Like we think we know, but like the last minute, their assignments change. And then of course, once you know with the first game, it changes, game 2, you know where it is, you know where it's going. But you know what I'm talking about, right, Stevie? As far as
Monday umpires are the toughest. It was the only extreme that I had saw on the bat. That's the only reason I mentioned it.
Max Fried's got an extreme hitters umpire. Barrios has an extreme pitchers umpire. Logan Webb, of course, got extreme hitters, and Lance Lynn, extreme pitchers umpire as well. Hoosiers in chat is asking if Walsh is starting. Walsh is starting. Check out our lineups page here. I'll go ahead and drop this in chat if y'all aren't aware. The lineups page here at Rotogrinders. Otto, did you have a thought as far as Barrios? I know we kind of mentioned him in passing. Anything there, or just in pitching in general? Give me the summary. What's your approach as far as pitchers tonight?
Walsh, Walsh. Oh, goodness. Barrios, I kind of want to. In the morning, last night I wanted to play him a lot more, but with it being a better hitting weather situation, probably the best hitting weather on the slate that we have, I'm just going to stay away from it a little bit, and just go with the guys that I like, which is mainly going to roll out Cole, Burns, McCallahan, some Fried, and Yu Darvish. That's pretty much all I'm going to be rolling out today for the most part on FanDuel.
I see Eric in chat says best hitting weather on slate with extreme hitters umpire. Oh, okay. I thought it was about the White Sox, but they could be talking about Atlanta. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, with extreme hitters, definitely Atlanta.
Yeah, because I thought I might have flipped it and said it in reverse, but no, the two extremes are the White Sox and Atlanta as far as weather, and both good hitting weather, and one's got an extreme pitcher and one's got an extreme hitter. The extreme hitter in Atlanta tonight. Stevie, Don Yeezy in chat wants to know about Zach Davies, San Diego. No Tatis, no Manny Machado. I'm not really looking to play a lot of Padres, but Davies is just sort of like that guy he should be okay, but I'm probably not stacking against him, and that's that.
I think the biggest thing for Davies is he needs a right-handed heavy lineup, and they went very lefty today with Adams. Abrams, whatever his name is. Yeah, Abrams getting called up. That adds another lefty in that lineup. Hosmer, Mraz, Mazzara, Gresham batting leadoff, Profar, Cronenworth. Like, they're actually a team that, like, I actually don't mind like a 3-man stack today with the Padres in there.
I think the DK prices are still like inflated after Coors, right? I'm not mistaken. They had to leave Coors, and then all of a sudden the prices went up for some reason. Like Voit is now 4.7. He was like 2.5 and then 3.5. Cronenworth, it's at 6K. Like, good Lord, life comes at you fast. Cronenworth is 6K tonight. Like, what? Like, nobody's playing that. You can.
I made fun of it on the morning grind, and I think I have him in my 3-man.
Yeah, and Profar is 5K. Like, nobody's like, look, there's no reason to play him outside of the fact that nobody else is playing him, and they're still fine. And you can find the money. It's not that hard. Stevie, your final thoughts as far as pitchers?
Cole, number 1, Burns and McClanahan, 2A, 2B. Really like Winchowski for Boston and Caleb Kilian. If you're going to go cheap. On FanDuel, I think you try to get Garrett Cole today, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's if you're playing cash games, he's the cheapest amongst the 3 big boys. That makes a lot of sense, but ownership's going to reflect that too. Bubik over 5 strikeouts tonight against the Angels. I've not looked at the Angels as far as like strikeout guys, but my first thought is probably not. We betting over that? Over 5 strikeouts for Bubik?
I mean, he's a low strikeout pitcher. I don't know. I mean, the Angels definitely strike out in the bottom half of that order, can strike out. So, I mean, if you want to, I just, for me, it's probably a pass on that one.
Yeah, I think it's a pass as well.
I would take the under before I would take the over in that one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and there's probably a decent shot you push. Like 5 seems like about right what it should be. I've not checked to see what the bat says, what Cardi's bat says, but I'm guessing it's probably somewhere around 4-ish. All right, let me pull up our consensus rankings when it comes to stacks today, when it comes to the hitters. Again, nothing really screaming like awesome, but like Stevie, you kind of referenced it. Boston is number 1 consensus rankings, no surprise. 3 of the 4 of us have Boston, then the Angels, then Toronto, Milwaukee, the Cubs, Atlanta. I was the only person to put Atlanta in the top 5. San Diego, Chicago, KC. Talk about your favorite. Well, you mentioned it. You like Boston. Tell us why you like Boston as your top offense.
I mean, I've said it a couple times. We get a fly ball pitcher that gives up a ton of hard contact in Boston, in Fenway. So when I'm targeting tournament plays and looking for like ceiling, I mean, this is a dude that could give up 3 or 4 home runs before even getting out of the game. So love this spot for Boston today. Outside of them, like I really like Toronto. Lance Lynn struggled. I hate the righty thing for Lance Lynn, but I mean, with his struggles so far, I think that is a stack. The Angels, really like the Angels. Like I said, Bubic, not a great strikeout pitcher. Walks a lot of people. You could get 2 or 3 guys on, and a couple home runs could change things big time there. And then I love the Brewers today. It's just a gut play. Mlb Mikolas threw a ton of pitches last time out, 129 pitches, season high. And I typically wouldn't stack against Mlb Mikolas, but this is a spot that I'm just going to trust my gut.
Hey, before I ask Andre, I'm curious, Stevie, you're making 20 lineups tonight. Are you putting what kind of rules you're putting in? What kind of restrictions? Are you trying to get 4 4s, 5 3s as far as your stacks? You're giving yourself some versatility or what?
So this slate with the hitting not as great. I typically, when I do it, I almost have about 80% usually with 5-3. I have 50% today. I did a little bit with 4-3 as well. But I mean, my main focus is always going to be 5-man stacks. 70% of my stacks are going to be 5-man stacks. So even on a slate like this, I feel like a 5-man stack, whether it be a 5-3, a 5-2, however it works out, 5-man stacks are always going to be something that typically takes down those big tournaments. And when you're playing a 20-incher max and you're playing against a gazillion people, the way that you're going to win is a 5-man stack and getting the right combo with that 5-man stack. I mean, that's how you're going to beat 20,000 people.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I have the same thought as far as pushing back a little bit because there's no awesome, in theory, before the game start, there's no lineup where like I need 5 of these guys. And of course, like correlation matters too, and you want to beat 30,000 people. But I'm probably going to have a similar, well, more so of an approach of I'm okay playing 3-2-2-1, like on Fanduel. Like I'm okay doing that, or 4-2-2, like things like that. Andre, same question. Is your philosophy changed tonight with the 8-gamer and not one necessarily amazing offense or even 2 or 3, but like just homer hunting is sort of my thought process. And hopefully you kind of land on the right combination while getting some correlation as well. And also your favorite stacks tonight. Did you get it right? You kind of agree? Boston, LA, Toronto. Nobody mentioned the Yankees. Just throwing it out there. It's your team.
I know, but I do like those top 3 stacks today. It's my favorite. It's hard to get away from them, honestly. I do kind of like taking a shot on Kansas City today, as well as Milwaukee, from what Stevie was mentioning earlier. But Kansas City, I don't mind taking a stab at them going against Syndergaard today, and I do like San Diego too a bit as well. So I'll take some chances with those guys. And I'm gonna run mainly. It's tough. I really like to do like, especially on a site like FanDuel, I really like to do like 4-3s. But I'll probably run 4-3s and 3-3s today. Maybe a little bit of 4-2s. That's the least amount, but probably I could say about 35% each, maybe 35, 40% on 4 threes, and the other number would be probably the second highest, and then the minimum will be 4 twos. So I'm still going to full stack them up as much as I possibly can.
Do you want to mention, if you don't want to mess around with stacks, if you don't want to play against Stevie, you don't want to play against myself, you don't want to play against Andre, you can play against the house. If you're not aware, StatHero, it's a unique fantasy sports platform that allows users to compete only against the house, not against other players. You participate in head-to-head style contests where StatHero, what they're going to do is they're going to provide a lineup that you have to take down. You got to beat that lineup in a pick'em style contest. Use the promo code GRINDERS, GRINDERS, for a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. Jump into the action today. Going to go around the horn in just a second. Going to give our favorite players position by position. You guys are in the chat and it's relevant to the conversation and I happen to see it, we'll go ahead and ask questions. If we miss somebody, feel free to chime in. And this is your show too. We want the chat to chime in. Producer Steve, if he likes your comment, he's going to throw it up on the screen for everybody to see. He's our comment goalie. Devin's lurking as well too. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and give our fair plays position by position. Who wants to draw the short straw? Let's give it to Andre. Andre, catchers, get excited. Who are we playing a catcher tonight?
Okay, because I accidentally did this today. All right, so I did one thing by accident today. But Varsho's a guy I'm looking at catcher today, as well as Salvador Perez, obviously. But I really do like getting into the guys like Christian Vasquez in that matchup against Detroit. And I do like a guy that's going to probably be lesser on than most people. Is Omar Narvaez. Coming in a lefty versus Mikolas, so I definitely don't mind taking a stab at him, and obviously Wilson Contreras.
Stevie, catcher. Suzuki's 2-4, by the way, playing for the Angels.
He's by far my favorite catcher today. Come on, Dean, cheap catcher, lefty righty. Suzuki hits lefties. Like, obviously ownership's going to have to adapt for no Stassi and Suzuki in there instead, but 2.4 against the lefty and one of the top stacks on the slate. He's in a fantastic spot today. Him and Christian Vasquez are $1,100 difference, and Suzuki probably has the better matchup. So, ton of interest in Suzuki today. Outside of him and Vasquez, Melendez for Kansas City. You got those guys that could get on base and steal against Syndergaard, and then Melendez could get an RBI with a couple hits there. And at catcher, I mean, if you're home run hunting at catcher, I think you're paying up for like Varsho or Contreras today. But if you're just trying to get like solid points, I think Suzuki, Narvaez, Melendez types of plays, Vasquez. If you're stacking San Diego, you could play Austin Nola. We have to see who's catching for the White Sox, because if it is it Savela? He's like 2.2K. And could be a decent play in that White Sox stack. So don't mind that either.
Cardinals lineup just came out. Edman leading off, Donovan, Goldie, Arenado, Gorman, Yepes, Carlson, Bader, and Kneiffer. So no Yachty. Of course, if you guys just missed it, O'Neill went on the IL as well. I don't mind the other cheapie. I don't mind on DK is the rookie for Toronto is 2.5 over there. I know we want to pick on Lynn with lefties. Not a lot of options on the Toronto side, but Moreno, prospect, good hitter. He's cheap, good ballpark. That's good enough for me at 2.4K. On Fanduel, obviously you don't have to roster a catcher at all, but Varsho at 2.7 looks pretty appealing. I presume he's leading off, right? Yeah, leading off versus Darvish. Stevie, first base. Who excites you at first base today?
First base is one of those positions where it's just going to kind of be a stacked position. Tellis is someone that I really like against Mikolas. I like the Brewers. It's not a secret. I've said it a bunch today. Outside of him, Matt Olson against Logan Webb is a really interesting tournament play. When we look at where Webb struggles, it's left-handed power, and Olson is a left-handed power. Obviously, I like Vlad. If you want to play Ohtani at first base, I have no problem with that. Wilmer Flores in that hot Atlanta game is someone. Darren Ruff, like if you want to, be different. But yeah, I think my favorite first baseman today is Rowdy. Team Girth, baby. Let's go.
Well, speaking of team girth, I'll see that girth and raise you the girth of Vogelbach. Vogelbach is pretty cheap on
Yeah, I X'd him out, so I don't know. I don't even have him in my player pool.
Dude,
so.
pound for pound, there's not a cheaper first. He's like 2.6 over there.
Yeah, he's facing a massive ground ball pitcher though. Can't do it.
So you guys,
he is a big fly ball. I mean, maybe you're onto something. He is a big fly ball hitter against a big ground ball pitcher. Maybe he gives up his first one.
I was distracted. I'm not sure if he said Matt Olson or not, but I like Olson especially. Well, on Fanduel he's 3-2.
I only highlighted him for at least 2 minutes, Dean. Don't worry.
So what threw me off is that you remember our old friend Pepsi 7 from Toronto, from Canada.
Yeah.
I guess he's watching right now. He just messaged me. He says, "Mustache on you is so god awful. What are you thinking?" Hi, Pepsi.
What's up, dude? I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't visually talked to him in a while, so he's not aware of what's going on over here. So yeah, I mean, but I appreciate the honesty and the bluntness. He's not wrong. Yeah. What do you have here, Andre, as far as first base?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like earlier today. I really was looking at Vogelbach for hitting a home run today. I kind of like it. So if you guys want to take that, do what you want with it. I might throw a little bit of money on it after we get off the show. But I like a guy like Jared Walsh today a lot. Rowdy Tellez is one of my favorites. I like going again to Vlad against Lynn, even though Lynn strikes out righties at a really, really, really high clip. Shohei Ohtani is easily one of the best plays today, who I don't mind taking a shot on as well. And Christian Walker, I don't mind him against Varsho as well. And if you going against Berrios, Andrew Vaughn is a guy that I would use in my stacks. Franchi Cordero, yeah, I like him today too as well. And Keston Hera.
I just put Vogelbach back in my player pool.
There you go. Yeah, I gave him the reverse mush. I'm not really sure now he's not going to do anything. I'm not sure what's going to
No, I mean, it really, like, looking at the advanced numbers, It makes a ton of sense. He's a big-time fly ball guy against a big-time ground ball guy, so.
Let's jump to second base. Keystone position, Andre. Hera's super cheap on DK if you want to flat out punt it. He's sitting in the 8-hole. Rangifo is another guy at 2.3K.
Oh no, don't mention him.
Rangifo?
Yeah, I don't play that guy.
I don't either. Well, what did he do to you? Did he blow up one of your lineups?
He's never. He always gets a 0 in my lineup. So every time I play him, so he just gets automatically X from my player pool.
Speaking of that, Javi Baez is like 2.7 on FanDuel. He's good for a 0 many times, but he will steal a base, and he theoretically has some power when he does, on the rare occasion, hit the ball. If Merrifield gets on base, he's running. He's going to swipe a bag, so I'm okay with him. Boston stacks, of course. Trevor Story is certainly appealing if you want to flat out punt. Biggio, he is a lefty stick on the left side. If you like the Toronto stack, he's batting ninth, but he's on the road, so a pretty good shot at those 4 at bats. And I mentioned earlier about the CJ Abrams, the rookie for San Diego. Uber prospect is 2K on DK. I think he's 2.3 on FanDuel. Batting 8th. She's kind of buried, but whatever. He is super, super cheap, and there is talent there. Andre, what do you like at second?
You pretty much named everyone that I like at second.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to just set the table, and you're supposed to knock it down, but I saw more guys as I was talking, and I just kept going. So,
well, it happens. Trust me, I know the feeling. So, the only person I can really add to that is Jake Cronenworth, who I really like a lot today.
Well, what do you have, Stevie, to say as far as second base?
I mean, on the extra survey, I said my home run call today was Hera, batting 8th. So I like him a lot. But yeah, second base, just kind of looking at my percentages, is really spread out today. It's one of those positions where I feel like I'm just playing some people in the stack, and I'm hoping I don't have anyone over 20% in my player pool at second base today.
Andre, are you putting your hand in front of your mouth when you're talking? According to Jeremy, that's what you've done. It basically kind of muffles your voice a little bit. Is it right in front of the microphone? I'm not sure.
My mic is on the side, so maybe I did a couple times. I didn't mean to, but
you're good. Just just a little tech issue on the fly. But I didn't even pick up.
Oh, only it. I could hear him whisper his $1 million parlay that's going to hit tonight. Sorry, chat.
I'm just reading the chat and I'm asking a question on their behalf. I have no idea, but I didn't hear it. But somebody heard it. Just asking. We're moving on from second base. Let's talk about third, the old hot corner. Stevie, this is yours. Who's doing things for you tonight at third? The obvious answer is Devers. not just because you're a Boston homer, but because nobody's better positioned than Devers tonight, right?
I mean, him and Mike Trout are the two hottest hitters in baseball, and they have two of the best matchups on the slate. So,
Are hot streaks real?
Yes. Yes. So I mean, if you're playing like a single entry or cash games, like Devers and Trout is where you start your lineup. I think today. It's just a great spot for both of these guys. But if you're not playing Devers at third, I don't mind Matt Duffy. He's hitting fourth today for the Angels. So really good lineup spot. He's super cheap today at 2.5K. A home run that I think is interesting today is maybe Jake Berger going up against Berrios. He was really hot before he got hit in the hand. But yeah, I mean, third base, another position that I think you could play if you type of spot. But I mean, I have like 50% Devers, and nothing's changing my mind on Devers today.
Yeah, it seems like good chalk, but like, you know how any hitter can flop, obviously. 33% is the projected ownership, Stevie, on DK, and that's kind of at the number we're getting. Like, if you can tell me a player is going to be 35% owned, no more, no less, I don't know if I want to get much more than that. Now it's a smaller slate, and the other part of it, Stevie, is that okay, you're going to fade Devers. Good. Okay, who are you going to play instead of him? Tell me, like, the rest of the third base pool. Now, this is just projections, and projections, you just need a baseline. They're kind of stupid for baseball because anybody can go 5 for 5, whatever. But he's got a 3-point projection, DK-wise, higher than everybody else, Stevie. Risk raw point projection, and Chapman's next, and Riley, who's good, obviously, but not the great matchup necessarily against Webb, big ground ball guy. That's, if you're not playing Devers, and that's I guess why you're playing 50% Devers.
Yeah, I mean, Devers is, if you're not playing Devers, you're home run chasing or going value with like Duffy, Berger, Chapman, Patrick Wisdom, just trying to get that home run. I mean, if you want to play some DJ LeMahieu against McClanahan, sure. Arenado is expensive, and he's a guy that could hit a home run. I think it's just more of you would home run chase if you don't want to go Devers today.
Andre, I presume you like Devers as well, but like, where are you going to take a stand on this? Do you have any players you like as pivots away from him at third base?
It's hard to really get away from him. I mean, I would try to see what else I could do. Like, I like Nolan Arenado a little bit, Brian Hayes, and I do like Josh Rojas and Jake Berger, and even a little bit of Patrick Wisdom, just to go down, like, obviously this little list. But those are some of the guys I like. But I would just splash them in a little bit. But Devers is going to be probably the main play from this position, regardless, whether it's a one-off or in my stacks. He's just in a phenomenal matchup. I kind of expect him to hit a home run today, too, as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like 2.5 to 1 the sports books or something like that. Which is not, when you're betting homer props, right, Andre? Like, that's about. I've seen Judge like a 2 to 1 in some places. Sometimes it's just hard to just like, more times than not, like, guys are not going to homer no matter how good the spot is, right?
Yeah, it's really hard, like, to just like I know it's more likely times than not, but I try to target bad pitchers and fly ball pitchers a lot, especially in good hitting weather. So if that combination presents itself, or you just get a good ballpark where you have a bad pitcher, I'm going to take the chance and see what happens. And we have that today. So Devers that's why I like Devers a lot today. Just like I'm just noticing trying to make something now, another like little home run parlay. I like 3 guys from the Angels to hit home runs today. And I don't know how likely that's going to happen, but I'm going to take a shot at it.
You guys are hanging out on YouTube. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. All that is appreciated. It keeps the proverbial lights on. About 10 minutes or so, you're getting Dave Potts. Cheese is good. You're getting Squirrel Patrol and Grant. Grant is going to fill in famously for Kevin Roth today. There are no precipitation issues. Last I checked, the only thing we see is a couple of good hitting ballparks when it comes to heat. That will be the White Sox ballpark. They're facing Toronto, and Atlanta versus San Francisco, well-positioned for some positive hitting. All right, let's talk about some shortstops. Andre, I'm just going to play a ton of – I hope I'm not going to have too much of it, but I love Oneil Cruz, 6'7", like, awesome power. He's not, like, filled out like a Judge is, but he's a big boy. Shortstop, too, 6'7" shortstop, which is – I feel like that's something you don't see very often. in the 6-hole today versus Kilian. I know Kilian's a bit of a prospect for Chicago. I know it's not the best ballpark in the world, but he is 2K and he kind of makes stuff work for me. Andre, your thoughts as far as Cruz, your thoughts as far as shortstop in general?
Nah, I like Cruz today. I like taking a shot at him today. Like you said, the guy with a lot of power in his first start. So it'd be nice if he hits a home run, especially at 2K. Only looks like only 12% is going to be on him on DK, and Fanduel's is going to have even less of him. So I love the spot today, taking the shot on him today. But I'm going to get to a guy like Tim Anderson if he's in the lineup a lot too as well. Bogarts, Willie Adames, Bo Bichette, who I like today as well, and Bobby Witt Jr. In the KC stack. KC, I'm only playing them in the stack. I would maybe one off, or maybe run a mini stack with MJ Melendez, Sal Perez, and Bobby Witt if I was running like a mini stack. But for the most part, I would just full stack them.
Pulling up the stolen base odds, I'm curious. Witt, I think, like I saw earlier today, he was like close to 3-1. Melendez is 35-1, which, I mean, mostly anybody. Like if Benintendi gets on at 19-1, I don't hate that. 12-1 for Taylor. Where did I see? I think I saw Witt was like 3 or 4-1 earlier today. Merrifield's 3-1. Isabel 7-1. Nicky Lopez, batting 9th. Not a huge speed guy, but basically anybody's going to go against Syndergaard. Stevie, your thoughts as far as shortstop?
Well, I'm telling the chat when my beard is gray. I mean, shortstop's a position where this is a position I really narrowed down today. This is a position I think, if you're going Abrams or you're going Cruz on the cheap end, you're going Bichette, Anderson, Xander Bogaerts, Adames, Witt on the top end. I mean, the only thing that I'll say is Abrams and Cruz going to get pretty decent ownership. Andrew Vasquez for Angels, if you're like doing a wraparound type of stack there, could be a good pivot off of those cheap guys. But yeah, I mean, shortstop is a position I definitely want to narrow down today.
Your beard is gray, Stevie, because you've been working too long at RG. Is that what I'm seeing in the chat?
Yeah. No, I've been around for a while, Dean.
You had a FanDuel account in 2009. Man,
yeah.
That's like you and Chop. I feel like Chop was one of the original guys, too.
Yeah, me, Chop, Noto, Beer. We're like, I mean, so we were at a live final. It was a Playboy Mansion final, and Cal was so mad that like FanDuel like posted on like the presenting thing that like I had the oldest FanDuel account there. Cal was like, "What's up with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, what's up?"
Would the Cal think he was the guy?
Yeah, he thought he was the guy. He's
yeah,
not.
I don't know. I think like maybe 2011 or something. I don't
he
know.
He has more money than me though, so he still wins.
I think he's doing fine for himself.
Yeah.
I feel like he's doing okay.
I want to drive his truck.
The Rivian, yeah, it looks
great. Man. Like we've been talking about. I'm supposed to go to Nashville here soon, and we've been talking about playing some disc golf. So I'm gonna talk him into letting me drive his truck.
What's I saw him tweet about it, but I had no idea what it was. I'm not a car guy or a truck guy. Is a Rivian? What's the?
Yeah, it's just a fully electronic truck. I mean,
yeah, it's supposed to compete.
It looks legit.
Tesla.
Okay, and the name of the company is Rivian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know. When did you start playing, Andre? You remember?
Dean? Did you see my Father's Day post on Twitter yesterday? I posted a screenshot from like Father's Day 2011 when I won a FanDuel.
Didn't see this.
Oh, it was like a FanDuel like free roll, and I won like $150 gift card.
Oh.
And it was funny because like the screenshot, nobody mentioned it. It was 11 years ago, but like the screenshot was FanDuel open on my computer and Daily Joust.
I never played Daily Joust, but I remember it was a thing. I was more of a draft day, draft street guy.
Oh, I love draft day, man.
They had the best like layout. And for some reason people just didn't play there.
It was so soft. Napster Man was the only guy you had to beat over there on draft day.
Nap did crush over there as well too. You remember, Andre, when you first, you probably, I'm assuming
2015, 2016.
Yeah,
that's when I first started playing. I just it's coming on TV so much during the NBA Finals, and I just said, let me just take a shot at this, and been running with it ever since.
Andre, outfielders tonight. We've kind of mentioned these guys throughout the show, obviously. Trout's, if you care about hot or not, whatever, he's got 8 homers his last 10 games. Ohtani, it's left on left. We know Bubic is a reverse splits guy, so nothing to fear there anyways. Acuna is just really good, and I don't know if people are going to play him or not. We like the Red Sox. Sure, why not play some Martinez? You got Duran as a cheapie leading off there for Boston as well. Springer, another guy in that Toronto lineup, leading off on the road, well positioned. I'm doing it again, Andre. I'm naming all the guys. What am I doing? I should just throw it to you. You take it. My bad.
Letting you talk because hey, you're naming all the plays I like. So
I'm sorry. Shut up.
So I love pretty much everyone that you mentioned there. I like Tyler Ward, another one. Hunter Renfroe, it's a guy I like as well today. Duran, we mentioned before. I think I like him a lot as well. Jackie Bradley Jr., who I mentioned earlier in the show, is someone I'm going to play a lot of. Brendan Marsh, pretty much anyone from LA, anyone from Boston, pretty much I'm with having in my lineup and don't mind it at all. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think there was one more guy. Oh, Verdugo. I want to mention Verdugo because I really do like Alex Verdugo today. So play a lot of that guy.
Stevie, I want to ask about some outfielders, but also in the chat, you said you won $5K versus Condia playing beer pong. Was that a two-man, one-on-one?
Yeah, it was me and Tommy G, and it was Nick and Condia. I can't remember Nick's screen name. It was like Condia.
Lucor?
Well, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
How do I know that? That should be out of my brain at this point, but yeah.
Yeah, is that a live final? It was funny.
Now, I did have one of those. I wasn't a contestant, but I happened to be at one of the Play by Mansion live finals, and that was it was fun, right? It was good.
It was fun. I mean, because I stacked the Red Sox, and they hadn't scored a run in like the first 6 innings, so we were playing. So I made way more money in beer pong than I did in the live final, and like it was so crazy because it was so windy that like we took the table inside the tent. Everybody's like sweating games around us, and like we were the main attraction by the time because Condia was getting a little tipsy, so it was funny.
You took advantage of that, I suppose. Yeah.
No, I'm just good, Dean.
Yeah, fair enough.
You see this beard? Come on, man.
Is that the look of somebody else that play beer pong?
I mean, you look at Grant's beard, the 2 bearded guys. I mean, we can drink,
We got it took all show, but there's Naked HD. I was waiting for them that are unofficial.
You missed it earlier. It happened earlier.
Oh, I guess you know what it is that producer Steve is so quick to just delete it that like I missed all the. I guess it just went away pretty quickly. I don't know. I suppose it's how.
Someone in the chat just said Dean was not a contestant. He was one of the bunnies.
Hey man, I had a good time.
That was solid. that made me laugh. That was a good one.
Work.
I mean, as far as outfield goes, I mean, most of your outfielders are going to be stacks. I think the top outfielder is definitely Trout. I really like Taylor Ward as well. He's super cheap, across the board. Duran is someone that's cheap, batting leadoff for the Red Sox. But, I mean, stolen base-wise, Benintendi against Syndergaard, if he gets on, he'll run. Power upside, I mean, you could take Judge or Stanton in that tough matchup and just try to chase a home run. But overall, I think outfield's going to be a position where who's in your stack type of plays. And like I said, I have to say it one more time, Dean, Milwaukee today. I mean, my gut is telling me to stack the Brewers, so I definitely like Christian Yelich.
Did we get to Andre? We didn't really even talk about it, but the battering ram, I always get this wrong. A homer play of the day. Battering bomb. I'll never get it right. I'm sorry. How many likes do we need for that? Are we at that number?
I didn't even put it out there because I wasn't paying attention, but I'll just put it out there today. I've said it before, Alex Verdugo. I think he's going to go yard, and I also like Jared Walsh, so I'll give you guys 2 today.
How about yourself, Stevie? Give me a couple of guys that are going to homer.
I'm going to take a cheat code and say Devers is going to homer against the fly ball. He's going to hit 2 today, so there you go. Cheapy to homer today. Hera from Milwaukee.
All right, I'm going to say O'Neill. I don't play this game very often. I should. I don't know why. I'm in the show. I might as well participate. I'll take O'Neill
because
Cruz.
You can't take 10% of everybody in the home run contest.
I promise you, I'm going to have more than 10% O'Neill Cruz. Like that's for sure. Like without question, going to happen. I wonder if you know who's not here today. It's not Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Upgrade, downgrade, that's up for the viewers to decide. It's Grant Gneiffer. Grant, you're stepping in. What's going on, dude? We didn't chat today. Normally we chat on sometimes on your Scores and Odds show. What's up, Grant? How are things in your world?
Yeah, I decided to ride solo because I'm a sleepy goose. I'm a sleepy goose right now.
What do you mean you're a sleepy goose? What is
I'm a sleepy goose. I want to go take a nap after this show.
You're sleepy right now?
I'm very sleepy.
Why?
Because I didn't get enough sleep. Why are people normally sleepy?
Why didn't you just sleep an extra hour?
Because I have work in the morning.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Not all of us live on the East Coast and can sleep in until noon every day.
Grant, I watched your movie, by the way. We do this thing on the Scores and Odds, the Scores and Odds show, where we have a movie bet, and then you assign the other person a movie if you happen to lose your bet, and it has to be something the other person hasn't seen before. And Grant forced me to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, which
you still need to watch the second one also.
I lost a couple bets, and
yeah, you keep losing.
That's very much like winning a bet. You get to watch Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I consider that a win.
It is the reason why I did see Gladiator. Actually, Grant did assign me. He assigned me some terrible movies, but he finally.
Okay, your definition of a terrible movie was Lord of the Rings.
I did not like that. I really did not like Lord of the Rings.
You didn't like A Knight's Tale. You didn't like Thor Ragnarok.
It was fine. And Thor was fine. It's not my. It's just too much. Like, I get it. Things are blowing up. We have to do that for 3 hours straight.
You didn't like Aladdin, which with that mustache, you kind of look like a guy who sells carpets.
I don't remember all the characters, but okay. Grant, are you ready to take over the show? You're ready to, also the people are probably going to want. Let them know. I teased a couple of the bets. Do you have some of your favorite bets today?
I have many bets every day. I mean, who's on the mound that we love to bet on?
Thor. Speaking of Ragnarok.
Yeah. No, I bet I got Benintendi at 25-1 to get a stolen base.
That seems weird. That seems like, does he have? And he's got to have a couple this season, right? I imagine. I didn't look, but
I think he's got one or two. But I mean, he's still it's Thor for one, and for two, anyone can steal a stolen base, and Benintendi has had some speed in the past.
He does have 0 this year, but that means he's due.
That's right, dude. That is right. All right, I'm out. Thanks for watching, guys. Have fun.
Bye.
Always.
He just do the Irish goodbye and just click and not even say anything, I suppose. Now I just feel bad because it's he has no interest in hanging out with us for a minute or two as we bridge to the Fanduel sponsor Crunch Time. But Grant, you got anything else in your mind? You just want to knock it out and talk with Squirrel, talk with Cheese? Anything else?
Yeah, I'm done with you.
Hey, you know what? You're going to be saying that because we are going to be future roommates. That's right. Right after your honeymoon, and before your honeymoon, you're going to be roommating with me. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I'm excited to be just married and have some weird dude sleeping in my basement.
Wait, I'm in the basement? I didn't know that. I thought
you're in the. I mean, it's not quite a basement.
I thought you had different arrangements.
You got a window. You got a window. You can see outside.
I don't know if I want to. It's scary out there.
Yeah, you can creep on the people walking on the path behind my house.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, too funny.
On behalf of Stevie, who's no longer here, and Andre, who is, thank you for sticking out the last couple minutes. Do appreciate y'all watching the first hour and a half of this Rotogrinders show. You got Grant, you got Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, 2-time millionaire winner, and John. We were talking about this before. Have you ever won $1 million? This isn't like an insult. We said cumulatively, sure, but did you ever actually bank $1 million in one sitting?
No. So my highest is 700,000.
That sounds.
You're the expert on the show?
I thought it was literally $900-something thousand from that one night when we went with that live final. Did you take everything down?
Was it
that one night with the live final from NBA last year? You didn't take everything.
I got first and second, but first was 500 and second was just 200.
You didn't play it, but what about the regular stuff? You didn't win anything that night?
Why didn't you get third?
I won a live final seat for the Miami trip that night. But I was focusing on the live final. I didn't do a ton of other entries.
Squirrel has definitely won at least 8 times as much as me, but I get all the fame until he actually wins one that counts.
Well, it's what is it? Well, I couldn't think of the word for some reason.
And speaking of that, next week DK is doing a Millie Maker, and guess what? I went ahead and looked. Dodgers in Coors Field. Great day for it.
You think they'll be popular?
It's just annoying to think about for a week.
They're gonna make Freeman like 3K too, just for fun.
Probably, yeah.
All right, let's step aside and get out of here. Talk about tonight's slate. Myself, Andre, Stevie, we're gone. The FanDuel sponsored Crunch Time, hosted by Grant Gneiffer, starts now.
Bye, Dean. Hello, people. We are Crunch Time. We are sponsored by FanDuel. If you haven't already signed up for FanDuel Sportsbook today, you're making bad life choices. Go on there. New users get a special bonus. Bet $5, get $200 in free bets. If you're not taking up every sign-up bonus you possibly can, it's an awful deal. So go sign up for FanDuel. Now that we've got that away, hey, Squirrel, hi, Cheese. I haven't seen you guys in a while.
Hi.
We got baseball, and you guys are doing all the hard work. I'm just Roth. It's not raining outside where I'm at. That's my weather report. But we got a fun little slate to talk about. You guys want to start with DraftKings or FanDuel first?
Don't we usually go position by position?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. Can we do them at the same time?
I'm more gamble. It's been a while. Yeah, let's start off with pitcher. Cheese. Who are you looking at?
Everyone except for two. This is just entirely a pitching slate. It's basically, so there's 8 games, right? That's 16 teams by my math. There are 14 pitchers that are playable and 2 offenses. And that's pretty much your slate. So what pitchers do I like? Not really Chris Bubic or Alex Faedo. Everyone else I like. Officially, Garrett Cole is obviously the top guy. If you got one ace, Cole looks slightly better than Burns and McClanahan. But I love Burns and McClanahan as either pivots or just play 2 aces on DraftKings. There's nothing really sneaky about that because there's so many cheap bats. When I first glanced at the slate, I thought, like everybody, oh, Lance Lynn chalk. Why is Lance Lynn so cheap? You don't need Lance Lynn. And now I'm getting way ahead of myself, but original first thought, I think everybody thought I'm going to be so sneaky and I'm going to stack the Blue Jays against chalky Lance Lynn. Ha. Now the way the slate works out, no one's playing Lance Lynn and the Blue Jays are actually chalky because you don't need salary. So to me, Cole and on DraftKings, Darvish are the chalk. It's good chalk. But every other pitcher is also fantastic. So Burns and McClanahan off of Cole are great pivots. Logan Webb, maybe Barrios and Mikolas and Fried are totally fine pivots off of Darvish. But that's even burying the, JT Brubaker, who's cheap, Lance Lynn, who now I don't think will be popular enough to worry about needing to fade if you like him. And I even kind of like Winkowski. And I wish I needed more salary so I could play more Kilian for $5K. But you got so much money sitting around. Like, just play Cole on FanDuel if you're trying to score the most points in your lineup. And on DraftKings, like, it's just so easy to get 2 aces. I think anything under Darvish ends up being more or less sneaky because you don't need the salary. And I really like Brubaker, and I like Winkowski ahead of Lynn personally.
All right, Squirrel. Who you like?
Yeah, I'm probably going to try to get more different with my offenses tonight than I am with my pitchers. I think like Cole, Burns, and McClanahan are way higher than everybody else. And so I'm probably going to be playing cheaper offenses because I think there's going to be a lot of like consolidation around the Angels and Boston. And so, yeah, I'm going to focus mostly on the expensive aces like the Cole, Burns, and McClanahan. I'll definitely be playing some Yu Darvish and some Logan Webb as well. Webb's facing Atlanta that strikes out a lot, but they're also a really good offense. And I'm probably not going to drop down to the other guys as much as Cheese. It sounds like Cheese is.
All right. Let's talk about some hitters, and we should start with FanDuel since it's FanDuel sponsored. So let's look at catcher here. You guys paying up for Perez or Contreras? Who are you going with? Cheese.
So I do think it's interesting to use a catcher on FanDuel just because you don't need to. And like, again, to kind of big picture the whole slate, like just mega massive chalk on Red Sox and Angels. Anything you do outside of that is automatically different and automatically not great. Like there's a reason that's what's chalk. Like Sal Perez and Wilson Contreras are not going to be sneaky on DraftKings because you have to play a catcher and you have money. But FanDuel, I actually like Perez a ton on FanDuel where you don't have to play him, but he's really incredibly easy to fit at 3,100. And other than that, it's just something in a stack.
All right, Squirrel.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Perez is definitely going to be the highest projected guy, but really on FanDuel, you don't need to play a catcher. So I think like MJ Melendez is sneaky because everyone's going to be playing Salvador Perez, and then maybe Travis d'Arnaud with power in Atlanta. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I thought about betting Melendez, and I thought about betting Sal Perez for a home run today. Didn't end up pulling the trigger. May do that right now while we're talking about first base with you guys. I'm going to do that. Over on FanDuel, Perez is at plus 360. Melendez is plus 610. I'm hitting both.
Congrats on the win.
Yeah, right. It's a free couple $100. I could pay for a nice quarter of a cow. I don't know how much cows cost anymore. Things are
Depends
getting
how
expensive.
big the cow is, really.
Yeah, and if you get dry aged and wood cut, you get it all depends. Cheese, who are you liking at first base?
Well, it's very different on the sites because on DraftKings you can play Ohtani at first base. You and everybody else. I wish Vlad was going to be sneaky. This goes back to what I said with the Lance Lynn part. Like, I think we all opened the slate and was like, sneaky Blue Jays, look at me. But there's nothing sneaky about it. Vlad's the top play. I like Rowdy Tellez for a homer. Like Matt Olson, even though I like Webb a lot. I think Olson's the guy that can hit one out. Dan Vogelbach, random cheap homer. And that's what I like.
All right, Squirrel.
Yeah, so I think Vladimir Guerrero is going to be very highly owned, particularly on FanDuel. I think because he's 3,700. But I'm going to be playing a lot of him. But I'm going to be playing, trying to find some of the other first basemen. I think it's going to be the Angels in Boston that are really highly owned, and they first base, at least on FanDuel, is not the position that you play Ohtani at first on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, if you're stacking the Angels with the Red Sox, you have to go with like Jared Walsh or Franchi Cordero. So I'm going to be playing some Luke Voit, Christian Walker, Matt Olson, Paul Goldschmidt. Just thinking that if one of these guys hits 2 home runs, that breaks the slate. If Guerrero and the Red Sox and Angels guys don't hit those 2 home runs.
All right, moving on to second base. Cheese, start us off.
I'm sorry, I was just glancing at the White Sox lineup just came out. Okay, second base, Trevor Story is mega massive chalk. If you want to play the same lineup as everyone else, you should play Trevor Story. After that, on FanDuel, Cronenworth is an interesting play. He's wildly expensive on DraftKings. Whit Merrifield is one of those guys who can steal a base against Syndergaard. I'm one of those guys who can steal a base against Syndergaard, but Merrifield even more so than me. You can throw darts at like Javi Baez. I think you could play Torres against McClanahan. You can go like super cheap, like Kevin Biggio. But pretty much Trevor Story is the obvious play and the chalky play. And everything else is the non-chalky play.
All right, Squirrel.
Yeah, so second base is where I like to get a little bit different because I really like playing the Tigers tonight. They're playing in Fenway. It's a good park. Whit Merrifield, like she said, I mean, they can, the Royals could rack up stolen bases. Like Noah Syndergaard falls apart sometimes. So I like the Royals and the Tigers as stacks. And then with second base, like that leads to Javi Baez and Whit Merrifield. Some of the other guys like Gleyber Torres, Yankees are really going to be under-owned considering how much power they have because they're facing a really good pitcher in McClanahan. But yeah, I believe Torres just hit home run yesterday. And he's got power. So he's somebody I'm interested in playing. Cronenworth is really expensive. So he's going to be really under-owned on DraftKings, although they still seem like they're priced for Coors Field. And then Tommy Edman on FanDuel second base, leading off for the Cardinals.
All right, moving on to third. Cheese, go.
Every position now is going to have one of these mega chalk guys. There's basically two obvious best plays of the slate, and one of them is Devers and Trout. He's expensive, but not expensive enough, and you've got salary. So Devers is kind of the very obvious best play, who, if you want to have the same really good lineup as everyone else, you should play Devers. If you don't want to have the same really good lineup as all your friends, it's still third base. So there's good players like Austin Riley and Arenado, for example, are guys that no one's going to play. I like Matt Chapman a pretty good bit, although I don't think he's sneaky either. I think he comes in kind of as the next chalky guy. You can try just in general, everyone in that Pittsburgh and the Cubs game is somewhat viable. That's one of those games where it could go any direction with either team. And I think guys like Wisdom and Hayes are certainly good in stacks, but not even that bad on their own. And there you have it.
All right. Nice, concise. Now you, Squirrel.
Yeah, so everyone other than Devers is going to be underowned. But Austin Riley, Brian Hayes, Patrick Wisdom, he's got power. He's facing like JT Brubaker. He hasn't been hitting well recently, but I mean, he's always got a good home run prop. And he's a guy that can hit 2 home runs, and like JT Brubaker is nobody there to be intimidated away from. Matt Chapman, if you're doing one of those Blue Jays stacks, or Nolan Arenado with St. Louis.
Yeah, I really like Riley today. I have him to hit home run. Plus 500 over at FanDuel. Giving you guys some free money. Shortstop, where I have Adames to hit a home run. Am I smart guy, Cheese?
No.
Oh, that got dark.
I mean,
Adames might hit a home run, you know.
Yeah, I hope he does, but that's kind of a weird choice. But I'm rooting for you.
I've hit it in 2 of the last 3 days.
Yes, it's very different. Willie Adames has been hanging out in Cincinnati, and now he's facing Mikolas. It's not the same thing there, but I'm rooting for you.
Coming off of what, 130 pitch game? I'm a little higher on the Brewers.
Excellent. I hope he homers.
Me too.
On FanDuel, you got 2 Red Sox. So theoretically, they'll actually both be popular because it'll be Story at second and Bogarts at short. Bichette is the other guy who seems like he should be kind of obvious and kind of is, but he should be lower than the Red Sox guys at least. And they all have similar fantastic upside. Bobby Witt is pretty interesting. All those guys are essentially the same price. So you kind of play whoever you want. And I would just say anything other than the Red Sox there, you're a little different. And then it's somewhat relevant on FanDuel, but more so on DraftKings. O'Neal Cruz at minimum salary. I feel like everyone's talking about him, so he's going to be chalky, but this is a very good prospect, batting 6th against Kilian. You don't really need him on FanDuel, and which is kind of a reason to play him. Like, he'll be way more popular on DraftKings, but I like him a ton on both sides.
All right, Squirrel.
Shortstop. So Tim Anderson is back, and he's going to be really underowned because nobody realizes he's back. The lineup just came out. Bo Bichette with Toronto. I really like Bobby Witt Jr. I like all of the Royals because I don't think many people are going to be playing Kansas City. And then, Willie Adames, home run guaranteed. So,
all right. I didn't quite guarantee it, but I'll guarantee it. Or guarantee that I'm going to lose money. It's going to be one of those two. Moving on to outfield. Geez, there's a lot of options.
There certainly are. So where we had all the Red Sox chalk in the infield, the outfield is where we have all the Angels chalk. Trout, Ohtani, and Ward are going to be wildly popular. I don't think you have to play these guys all together. I don't think you just have to stack or not play the Angels. Especially with Trout and Ohtani, like either one of these guys can hit 4 home runs while the rest of the team goes 0 for 37. So I'm kind of going out of my way to not just play them together in every lineup but I don't want to just fade these guys. They're the best plays on the slate. But rather than just going Trout, Ohtani, Ward, just do Bring in like Springer or JD Martinez, who are also kind of popular, or go a little further off the board with like Acuna, Lewis Robert, and Yelich, or Judge or Stanton. It's just a bunch of really elite bats. Like anyone who's not an Angel, a Red Sox, or maybe a Blue Jay is just unowned. And those type of Acuna, Judge type batters can just go nuts in any spot. The cheap stuff is not so relevant on FanDuel. Like even Jarren Duran at $2,700, it's not really that necessary. It's fine, but you got plenty of guys right around 3K like Teoscar Hernandez and Taylor Ward, Lewis Robert, Yelich. Even Springer's only 35 and Ohtani's 36. So I don't think you really mess around with cheap outfield nonsense on FanDuel. You might do it on DraftKings. I think you can bring some Padres into the mix with Grisham and Mazzara if you want. O'Neal Cruz is also an outfielder on DraftKings. But yeah, Trout, Ohtani, Ward, and then do whatever you want.
All right, Squirrel.
Yeah, so Trout and Ohtani are going to be really highly owned. I like the idea of pivoting to JD Martinez if you're playing a Red Sox stack and like maybe leaving Devers off and playing Martinez, because I think Martinez will be much lower owned. Let's see. I like all the Tigers like Robbie Grossman, Riley Green. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, and play some Pyro like Ryan Reynolds. All the outfielders other than Trout and Ohtani, I think are going to be under owned.
All right, and then stacks. What's your favorite stack, Cheese?
Other than the two very obvious chalk stacks, as far as trying to get moderately off the board, I'm trying to see who I actually played the most of to say who might, because I don't actually have a favorite off the board. I really don't. I guess, and I'm not even going to count Toronto because I think that's the third most obvious. How about we go with San Diego?
I like it. Squirrel.
Detroit.
All right, I'm going with Milwaukee. Although I don't think they're that far off the board, but I bet a decent amount on them today. All right, you guys ready to get some questions? We just gonna alternate.
Sure. That sounds good.
All right, Cheese. Isn't the double ace going to be the chalk build tonight?
I think Cole Darvish is the chalk build. And then the next chalk build would be double ace.
All right, Squirrel. DK single entry. Double spend up at SP with Giant Stack or Cole, U, and LA 5-man Kansas City mini stack.
I think the Cole, Yu Darvish, like Angels stack with the Royals is going to be a little bit too chalky.
Yeah, so go with the other one. All right, Cheese, DK single entry. Can you see yourself on a slate like tonight to leave more salary than usual on the table?
I thought the answer would have been yes, but in my actual builds, I didn't really end up leaving much. I would just say don't spend your salary just to make sure you play chalk. Like, if you got money left and you're like, oh, I can go up to Devers or Trout, maybe go up, but I don't want to leave money and not go up to Judge or Acuna, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Squirrel, FanDuel Cash 3v3. Dozier, Witt, Benintendi, or Vlad, O'Neal Cruz, and Teoscar?
I mean, the second one's going to project higher, I think, in cash. For tournaments, I like the first one. Just hope the Royals keep running around the bases on Syndergaard.
All right. Cheese, rank these punts on FanDuel. Rengifo, Ortega, or O'Neal Cruz?
I only like Rengifo in Angel stacks. I would put Cruz first. And then if it's like a tournament one-off, I would put Ortega second.
All right. Home run picks tonight. I already said mine. Probably Ozuna, Adames. Yeah, those are my two favorite. You guys?
Devers, Trout, Ohtani. Ooh, sneaky.
That is sneaky.
But really, other than those, and those are home run calls. How about Nomar Mazzara?
I like it. Squirrel, Riley or Stanton, FanDuel GPP one-off?
Riley or Stanton? I'd go with Riley.
Cheese, FanDuel GPP at third, Riley, Chapman, or Witt?
Riley.
All right, Squirrel, DK Cash, Moreno or Suzuki? Also, Duran or Benintendi?
Sorry, what was it?
Moreno or Suzuki?
Suzuki.
And then Duran or Benintendi?
Duran.
All right, Cheese, DK GPP. Anyone buying the Tigers' 21-run scoring spree this weekend to do at least one stack in 20 lineups?
So that's two different questions. No, I do not buy the 21-run scoring spree, but absolutely, yes, I would have one stack in 20 lineups.
All right, well said. Squirrel, 3,400 left on FanDuel for utility.
3,400. Go with Christian Yelich.
All right, Cheese, DK Cash. If double aces, who's number 2 after I lock in Cole, and does it matter?
I don't think it matters between Burns and McClanahan. There's no way to say which one of those is going to score more points. Personally, I lean to McClanahan.
All right.
But I don't think it matters, McClanahan, Burns.
All right, Squirrel, DK Cash. Gun to your head, Ohtani or Vlad?
Ohtani.
All right, Cheese, FanDuel single entry, Tiger stack with Trout as one-off?
Yes, that's the kind of place where you're okay to play a Trout or a Devers if you're doing a off-the-wall stack like that.
All right, Squirrel and DKGPP, how about a Yankee stack with Lynn Mikolas?
That's going to be way off the board. I like the idea of stacking the Yankees just because the power is tremendous and they're going to be so low owned. I don't know if you can find a way to maybe do it with a pitcher that's better than Mikolas. I would do that, but if you can't, then Mikolas is fine.
You should be able to get it up to Darvish.
Yeah. Cheese, Melendez and Ward or Suzuki and Trout? DK Cash.
In cash, I'd go Suzuki Trout.
All right, Squirrel, DKGBP. Is there any ace worth stacking against tonight?
Any ace worth stacking against? Yeah, I'd say McClanahan would be the best ace to stack against, just because the offense he's facing is the Yankees.
All right, now I'm looking for questions in YouTube chat. Cheese, DK tournament, Burger Abreu or Devers Martinez?
Well, so that totally depends on what you're trying to do with your lineup. Devers Martinez is the way better combo, but the way higher owned. So I guess if the rest of your lineup is super chalky, I think you do something different and go Burger Abreu. But Devers Martinez is the far better answer.
Yeah, Rob with an interesting question in chat. For anyone paying attention, after how many batted balls does it take for an indicative amount of time for a hitter's skill versus a particular pitch? The answer is you don't really know. Cardi, I'll almost assuredly say 10,000 events, which no one
I need over 100 personally.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you can't know, but over a certain period of time, the bigger the sample size, maybe it's more of an indicator or maybe it's random variances. What math says, I don't have a set answer. Cheese, thoughts on Thor for DK?
He's one of the only pitchers that I have zero of.
All right. Squirrel, who's your top pitchers on DK? You might have already said them.
The top pitchers are going to be McClanahan, Cole, and Burns. I'd maybe go with Burns. I guess Tyler O'Neill's out of the lineup, so a little bit less power. And I think Cole will be the highest owned. So if you're factoring in ownership, it's probably McClanahan or Burns, and I'm going to lean Burns.
All right. Cheese just popped in. I have a 5-man Toronto with Trout and Torres. $300 left. Can I choose between Mikolas, Darvish, or Webb? Which two for GPP?
Darvish, Webb.
All right. Squirrel. DK Cash, 2,800 left. Aaron Hicks is a one-off last piece?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Any interest in Jack Swindell in a pirate stack on FanDuel?
That's not a person.
Swinski.
Jack Suwinski. Okay, because Frank Schwindel is a Cub who's not playing anymore. Yes, I like Suwinski a lot in the Pirate stack.
Silly me. Squirrel, no Pirates love?
I do like the Pirates. Like, yeah, they're one of the teams I would pivot like off of the Angels, Red Sox, and Blue Jays. I think you can like pivot to the Tigers, Royals, and Pirates. Like they're going to be way less owned, but they have for their ownership, they have a good chance of being a slate breaking team.
All right, Cheese, McClanahan, Darvish with a 5-3 Boston Angels stack, or Darvish, Winowski, 4-man Boston, 4-man Angels, DK single entry.
The McClanahan Darvish with 5.
Squirrel, Tyrone Taylor in a Milwaukee stack, or Duran for DK.
Was it Tyrone Taylor or Duran? I would go Duran.
All right. Cheese, FanDuel last piece cash, Reynolds or Ward?
Ward.
Yeah. Squirrel, Ward or Trout as a one-off?
I mean, you got to go with Trout. Well, I mean, Trout's going to be probably one of the highest owned players on the slate with Devers. So if you're going for projected points, it's Trout. Maybe if you're trying to get sneaky, maybe pivot to an entirely different team.
Yeah. Cheese, FanDuel cash, Springer or Ohtani straight up?
Ohtani.
It looks like we're pretty much caught up in questions. I'm going to look back on YouTube and just sit here and talk and waste time until I find a question. And I have absolutely no question. Either of you playing Yahoo? Jason's playing Davies on Yahoo and asking if that's crazy. He could put up a decent outing.
He's just not on my radar tonight. Like, there's so much good pitching. Like, there's good expensive pitching and there's good cheap pitching. I don't know what the Zach Davies price is on Yahoo, but chances are there's somebody that's got more upside.
Yeah.
I did go to Yahoo and made a couple lineups. And I didn't look at Zach Davies personally.
All right. Cheese, any interest in Braves GPP on DK stack?
Yeah, if you're doing enough lineups, that's similar to the Yankees. Facing a good pitcher, and it's unlikely to work out. But if it does, that's a slate winning, talented group. So yes, I would play a stack.
All right. Did I ask? Yeah, I already asked that. Squirrel, DK GPP, favorite super cheap outfielder? I'm assuming Cruz.
Yeah, there's a few of them, and there's Riley Green too, or Robbie Grossman. But Cruz is probably the guy that's going to be highest. I think he's stone minimum.
Yeah. Cheese, in the 2 DK GPPs that I'm in, I'm running Darvish and Brubaker with Brave stack and Darvish Lynn with the Yankee stack. Is that too cute?
I don't think it's too cute. I think that's one of those, you should assume you're probably not going to cash today. Most likely you lose both, but that gives you 2 shots to really you can see the path to first place. And I think that's the way you play this slate.
Yep. Squirrel, Duran and Rengifo, or Hira and Tendi? DK cash.
Go the first one, the Duran and Rengifo.
All right. Cheese, in DK single entry, does spending down at SP2 make any sense looking to stack Atlanta?
I hope it does, because I'm doing it.
I like it. Squirrel, DK GPP, go Webb over Darvish with Cole if you have the money for it.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. That gets you a little bit different.
All right, geez, we might have kind of already addressed this, but we don't have any questions. What are your thoughts on leaving $1,000+ in salary on the table on DK GPPs?
So it just depends what your lineup is, because the problem is you can leave 1,000 and still be mega chalky. It's who the plays are. You can play Trout, Devers, Ohtani, and still leave 1,000, and then you're still going to be chalky because you're going to have Cruz and either Lynn or Brubaker. So don't leave 1,000 just to be different unless your lineup actually is different with it.
All right. Squirrel, FanDuel GPP, any love for the Arizona lefties?
Ooh, they're Arizona's kind of not on my radar. Arizona lefties, Not really. Yeah, I guess the answer is no.
All right, Cheese, Fanduel GPP. Sorry, Otani or Profar?
Otani.
Yeah, I figured that might be the answer. Squirrel, are the Royals a good stack for DK?
Yeah, I think so. Because they are cheap enough that you can get two of the top price pitchers, and I think like Syndergaard has potential to blow up. So,
Cheese, is today the day we're going to need good chalk for the DK tourney?
It's more likely today than a lot of days. Yes, it's very likely, but you never do know.
Yeah, it's baseball.
It's
literally.
very good chalk.
Yeah. Squirrel, JD or Hernandez?
I'd go JD. I think JD Martinez is one of my favorite plays today because I think everyone's going to play Devers instead and not be able to get JD Martinez, but they have about equal chances of success. So.
All right, Cheese. STL stack for GBP. I think they get to Burns.
I mean, it's really far down the list now. Like in full transparency, there's 16 teams on this slate, right? In my first 30-ish lineups, I have 16 stacks. Like it's one of those slate. If you're not eating the chalk, then I'm going anywhere. So sure, but they're pretty close to last place on the list.
All right, Squirrel. Trout, Otani, Devers, Cole, and Tiger stack for GPP.
I'm not sure.
Tiger
that's a lot
stack
of
with some
non-Tigers.
chalk is what he's
Basically, the
asking.
question is, are the Tigers different enough to play chalk everywhere else?
I think so. But I've tried. That's a lot of chalk, and it's a lot of non-Tigers hitters for a Tiger stack. If that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Cheese. DK GPP have San Diego Cubs stack. Story or Witt as the one-off.
You can go Story there.
All right. Squirrel, Cole and Otani or Darvish and JD for GPP.
Yeah, go like Darvish and GD Martinez. I mean, that's going to be clearly projected lower, but I think the ownership will be much lower.
Yeah. So we're caught up. Squirrel, are you in a legal betting state?
Yeah, Virginia.
That's what I thought. I knew you were near DC.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if you're on the Virginia side.
I had no idea Virginia was a legal betting state.
Yeah.
Just-
Has it been for a while?
No, it just started last year.
Okay.
Yeah. The surprise to me was Wyoming is now legal and only has like 3 sites on it, but I had to make a trip up there. So hooray, free sign-up bonus at MGM before they immediately limit me the next day to $15. Don't know why that system works that way, but they catch on every single time I sign up in a new state after my first bet.
You know what my favorite thing is about doing this, and maybe this be my favorite thing is not quite true, but it's a thing that I love, is to go watch us on YouTube and then drink my water and put my water down and then watch myself drink water. It's pretty fantastic.
just checking out your
see how it looks.
form. Yeah, that's fair. FanDuel cash for Cheese, Cordero or Grossman last piece.
Well, that's a good one. I can't really imagine playing either, but I think I would do Cordero. Like Grossman's better, I guess, but I would just play the guy in the Red Sox.
All right, and yeah, Cheese is a question specifically for you. Since we're no questions left, what's the best contest to play in regards to payout structure on DK if you're wanting to build up more for the first place equity?
I don't fully understand the way that's worded.
Because 3 entry maxes are the best way to do it. And you also want to do low buy-in because
like the first part of the question, I thought he was asking what were the best payout structures, kind of plain, but then to build more for the first place equity changes makes me think it's a different question. So I'm not sure what we're asking, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really understand. The okay, answer is if you're not that great, stick to single and 3 entry max and stick to low dollar buy-ins. Because you're not gonna have many sharks in the low dollar buy-ins. It's that simple. In any beginner contest, play those first until they ban you from it. Last question, Squirrel. If I'm playing Pirates full stack with Devers, Story, Otani, and Ward, would I have to worry about ownership with the good guys?
I think the Pirates will be different enough. I mean, because there's some chance that that combination hits, and I don't think anyone's going to be playing the Pirates. I'd maybe try to pick it up with like one of those highly owned guys. Oh, I think we're at lock.
Yeah, we're at lock. So now we'll answer one more question that's a season-long question and then get out of here. Cheese. Play Lance Lynn today in season-long?
Unless it's like a really shallow league where you have a lot of options, I think you should just play him. If it's even a moderately deep league, yeah, I think you play him.
All right. Any last-minute thoughts before we get on out of here, guys?
It's a weird little slate. I do not plan to win. That's how I feel about this slate.
I like it. I think it's a good slate. I like it when you kind of know where ownership is going to go. So
yeah, you definitely know that.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, guys, it's been fun. Good luck tonight. You've been crunched.